This episode of the Giant Bombcast is brought to you in part by Squarespace. Did you know that Squarespace makes it easy to turn your idea into a new and unique website? That's right, you can showcase your work or your blog, or you can publish content. You can even sell products or services of all kinds in just a few clicks. Customize whatever you want. You got look and feel settings, products. They got templates over there. Just use the templates. The designers designed them. They're world-class templates. They're beautiful templates. Just use the templates. There's nothing to install, nothing to patch, nothing to upgrade ever. You can head over to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, you can use the offer code BOMBCAST to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Hey, it's Tuesday, November the 21st, 2017. You are listening to the Giant Bombcast. I'd like to give a big warm welcome to our platinum tier internet users.
Thank you.
Joining us live.
Yes.
If you're in at the gold tier of internet access, then
you might be hearing it stutter
hello,
or in mono or
silver access people. We'll get this 22 kilohertz file 3 days from now.
You will get a transcription of every fifth word.
Perhaps if you were to subscribe to your internet provider's podcast tier.
Yeah, then maybe it would be something different.
Yeah. Hello.
We're gonna be.
This is just us fun and joking around, but let's take it seriously. Net neutrality.
Seriously, I can't even laugh about this.
Yeah, let me spin the chair around and get
Play the after school special music intro.
The more you know about net
man.
neutrality,
Yeah.
the more you realize you fucked those idiots. What the fuck? Why would? Why?
The why is not
evident.
the question. The how is maybe.
I don't think there are a lot of questions at all.
Yeah.
I think it's all pretty
That's
plain.
Fucking the dumbest shit that we're still having to say, hey, net neutrality is good. But apparently we have to keep saying, hey, net neutrality seems good. That seems like a thing that helps everyone on the internet.
Well,
consumers, small businesses.
Lucky for you, it, like many other things, will be something you look back on fondly.
Great.
In a matter of weeks.
the good old days.
Yeah.
Back when you can use the, honestly, there are already parts of the internet that I look upon that way. So,
yeah.
every day. But yeah, it's something we have to continuously fight for, because it's not like we convinced anyone, right?
No.
Like we just barely squeak by and get the shit extended, and then it's like we have to fight for it all over again.
all you can convince people is that it would be politically bad for them to back it, and that's the only language they seem to understand. So,
Anyway,
Because you can't convince them that it's going to lose them money, because it's not. It's going to make them money.
what if I sold you a box, and if you open that box, and maybe one of the things in that box is 20% faster access to videos on non-Netflix video services?
That's the thing. You guys won't even be able to be mad about Battlefront loot boxes because it'll take you 4 weeks to download Battlefront.
Yeah, right. God, that's a mess.
that is a mess. Speaking of mess,
If you just
Welcome
jack
to the
in
podcast.
and zap over some digicreds to your NetCorp, then you'll be able to watch this video.
Yeah, the Comcast is Ibatsu.
I'm stim hacking my router.
Your friends over at Xfinity Heavy Industries.
Well, what 3 minutes into this podcast, I already have a title. That's exciting.
Well, all right, great. Thanks everybody for listening. We're going to
next
shut
week.
this down so you guys don't go over your bandwidth caps.
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, we are sensitive to your needs. Hey, Jan's here.
Who's driving this thing?
Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
It's me. It's
down
great.
there. Hey.
Second week
Yeah.
behind the controls, hoping the ship doesn't crash.
Yeah, there seems like a lot of moving parts down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is what I'm gathering.
Yeah, I don't know what half of this stuff does.
Yeah.
So I'm
And
just,
I haven't told him. I want it to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep finding
So just-
post-it notes and everything.
Just hit buttons. It's going to work out.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm gonna come
when
up
Jason
with
was
something.
out, Ben just went over there and hit buttons, and then occasionally he'd go like, I don't know, and then I would go over there and I would hit a few buttons, and I would say, this seems right. So how hard could it be, really?
Right.
Yeah, so far Jason's just nodded his head while I'm pressing the buttons, so I think I'm pressing the right buttons.
I don't know if he is.
Some of these are red, though. Red means bad?
No, I think it's good.
Okay. All right, well, let's keep going.
Red means record, and you want to record.
Right.
Right.
Give
right.
me your quick impression. How many buttons and knobs and levers and T-bars do you think are in front of you?
One T-bar.
Okay.
We need more of those.
There's at least 5 of us in the room, so there's at least 5 knobs.
Okay.
Maybe. I
Probably
don't. This thing's digital, so
30 or 40 sliders over there, and
just about. And I
About-
think these double up on the sliders. So that's
yeah,
like
Not to
Four
mention
tabs
all
and
the
sliders.
buttons under the desk and all the things that have to be on. And,
Yeah.
And 2
going.
laptops and a computer.
3 laptops.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's
3
right.
laptops
Yeah.
and a computer.
I don't even know what's underneath the desk. I haven't bothered to look down there yet.
Don't.
also
do not.
one of those consoles has a joystick, I think, right?
Yeah.
That thing's kind of like what does that thing do?
That just manipulates video. So if we queued up that's what Vinny actually was using for a long time.
Okay, I think I know where this is going.
So yeah, that's a video switcher.
Yeah.
It's very bare bones though.
You see the video sliding around all crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the joystick.
That's the joystick.
Wow, that's
essentially.
cool. It's a lot of power in your
Yeah.
hands.
Oh, yeah. No one man should have all this power,
No,
but
you should-
today I do.
It's a podcast. Hello.
Yeah, hi.
What's going on?
Oh, I don't know.
What's new?
It's we're getting close to the end of the year.
Yeah.
I'm
How you doing on your crunch?
good.
Good?
Yeah. No,
Feeling
I
good?
finished a couple of games, a couple of big ones over the weekend.
You
nice.
know what? I was gonna do that at the end of this, but I guess we could just do it now. I was thinking about doing like a
Checking it like
last
where we're at.
minute game of the year progress check.
Oh, sure.
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so what is it? A week from yesterday? The East Coast office will be flying into the West Coast office.
Right. Yeah. They're coming over here
Yeah. So
to the
as of,
mothership to do some things.
as of a week from today, they'll be here, and we'll be kind of ramping up game of the year production.
Right.
It's great because we have
so-
2 desks open in our.
Perfect. I mean,
Not sure where
there
we're
are
going
only
to
2 of
sit.
them, I think, so it's probably okay.
But yeah, so as such, we have this long ass weekend, to play video games.
Yeah, this weekend. Like, yeah, we're gonna stay home on
So,
Wednesday this
yeah.
week, actually, just to try and fit some more stuff in.
Yeah, I'm not doing any like big family stuff. It's just gonna be me and my partner on
Games.
Thanksgiving. So
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, I finished some stuff over the weekend, so I'm gonna probably run a stream tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
Just hang out with
Yeah.
folks if they're into that from home.
Some
and
people
play
wrote
play
in-
some games, some old games.
We
maybe.
actually talked about this, the idea of like streaming some of the sort of game of the year crunch.
Mhm.
But the thing I quickly realized is nobody wants to watch me play games the way that I actually play games.
Yeah,
Like I want to like poke and prod at everything in the game and like
Yeah, me
stare
too.
at stuff. And,
they're
like,
way more into like when you're professionally gaming and just like
Exactly.
fucking just cracking off
crushing it.
headshot after
Yeah,
headshot.
Hey man, did you
Just
see
like our
that?
quick
full on
looks, yeah.
esports?
Did you see that Hitman run last week?
I did. It's quite a run.
But I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but like
I mean,
nobody wants to watch me play games analytically for game of the year.
Right,
It's not-
exactly.
that's not an entertaining
It's a
thing.
lot of like, here's 10 minutes of a pause screen
Yeah.
because I got up
Yeah.
to go do something else real quick.
Or like, I'm going to
you
go
know.
reread that text log for
Yeah,
the third time. Or it's
exactly.
just, that's not fun. I also don't want to talk,
Yeah.
I don't want that pressure.
Like you want to absorb.
Well, you want to focus,
Yeah,
right?
you want to appreciate what the game has going on. Anyway, like, what's your like? Do you have like a last minute crunch list?
Let's see. I'm trying to decide right now, this very moment, if I'm going to finish Night in the Woods because I'm not sure. Like, I like things about it, but it's kind of not grabbing me, so I'm not sure how much more of that I want to get into. Though it is fairly short. And I've got Pyre and Hollow Knight installed.
Yep.
And I would like to play some more Assassin's Creed. And I think that might be all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty light for
Yeah.
like 5 days. That's doable. I
Yeah,
would say.
and yeah, I've finished Nier, so that's done.
I should have finished Nier.
I uninstalled it immediately
Wow.
after
Okay.
finishing it, which seemed like the right thing to do.
I want to
so-
ask one question about Nier, and then let's not talk about Nier until next week.
All right.
Did you buy all the trophies?
No. No, I didn't actually.
forgot.
I'm playing on PC.
Oh, okay.
Also, I didn't actually ever encounter the vendor that does that.
Oh.
So I heard
Steam-
that was in there.
Steam
But
achievements are the hot new thing now.
yeah, no. But I can just download the Steam Achievement Manager if I want all those. Like,
or
that's
buy
not-
one of those 89-cent games that gives you 3,000 achievements.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I should have just left that game that we played on UPF running.
all
There's still
weekend long.
3,000 achievements left for me to get there. Yeah. No. So I did not do that. But I did at one point think like, oh, should I have been playing this on PS4 the whole time so that I could do these trophies or whatever? The achievement trophy thing is interesting. Like I did not expect it to happen, but so with the release of the Xbox One X, I've been spending a lot of time with the Xbox platform again.
Yeah.
And it's giving me a lot of opportunities to look at my achievement number and say, man, that's still way higher than just about anyone I know.
Yeah.
But what if it was higher? Like there were a couple moments where I was like, huh. And they do a monthly leaderboard built into the dash, so you can kind of see.
That's fun.
Like, oh, this person is 5 points ahead of me this month. That sucks.
Yeah.
And it's effective. Like, but I shook it off and have been okay. But there was definitely a moment there where I was like, yeah, achievements, man, those were good.
They're not bad. I mean,
they're better than trophies.
Yeah.
The raw number is better than like
Yes.
a trophy level
Yes,
and all
I
this like
agree with
these
you.
weirdly like somewhat more abstract.
Achievement means something.
I
Trophy
agree.
you can get anywhere.
Also, you don't have to sync achievements
Fucking
manually.
millennials.
Just happens right there.
Yeah. Well,
Participation
you don't.
trophies.
They've changed a lot of the trophy stuff on PS4 to where it is.
Sometimes it seems like they do sync, but not always.
Yeah, it seems
me.
like most of the time it does. I don't know. I've not had that issue lately.
I wish, like going into this generation, both consoles came up with cool new ways to extend out achievement functionality.
Yeah.
Like on PS4, you have the rarity stuff, which is
Yeah,
super
yeah.
fun data, and then on
You have to
the
high
Xbox,
five your TV, just like an overlay just comes up and it's like leave me hanging.
Connect
Good
support,
job.
Connect support for achievements.
Yeah,
And on the Xbox, they have that like embedded progress stuff,
right.
which is amazing. I wish they had both combined those.
So
I know
Xbox does
Xbox
have
does
the
have
percentage
rarity
stuff now, yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll
now I
like,
wish
so if you're getting like a rare trophy, which is very easy to do if you're playing a game before it comes out, a little diamond shows up. It makes a different achievement noise. Yeah, it's a diamond.
That's cool.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. But at the end of the day, none of that shit matters. I don't know. I've been playing more stuff on PC,
It's fun.
where achievements don't matter one bit at all.
I like a record of
Yeah,
my activity.
there is certain
Yeah, and the
I don't know.
PlayStation like takes a picture of like when you achieve that.
Yeah,
trophy as
totally.
Well, that's kind of cool.
But then
Going
it
back
doesn't
to,
like
but-
that doesn't get synced. So if you're ever playing on a
Right.
PlayStation that is not your PlayStation, which we do fairly frequently,
It's,
it-
it's a wild
generations
one
from
for
now.
people
Yeah.
like us. not for
Generations
most
from now, when your descendants want to discover
Yeah.
their genealogy and they want to go back and see the record of your life.
right, they'll be like, oh,
like
open
great-
season. You played all of open season.
Great great grandpa's gamer score.
Yeah, I will leave
Was
a
nothing
note
to sniff at.
taped to an Xbox that says this Xbox broke while I was getting all the achievements in open season. And
history.
they'll know. They'll know.
That's a piece
I've
of
had to
history.
delete a couple because it's like, oh, you were using the sloth power in Neo. Oh, you fucking cheater.
Oh man,
I don't want people knowing
That's
that.
rough.
That broken Xbox is a family heirloom.
Yeah, it
Go
gets
over-
passed down.
I'll go over the mantle someday.
Generation to generation.
Yep.
Everyone gets a chance to experience the magic.
Ben, what is your crunch time list
Oh
looking like?
boy, it's long.
Yeah.
I
Don't forget, like I feel like I've seen you and Abby both talking about games you have to finish recently. Like you don't have to finish that stuff.
Sure.
Like I don't know what responsibility you guys feel like you have, but like if you don't care about the game,
If you haven't by now,
Like-
It's more
It's gonna be
about
tough
like,
to, like-
can you be a little familiar with
Yeah.
it? So if
Yeah,
other
yeah.
people are
like
talking about it, you
that helps. But if it's not something you feel like you want to argue for,
But like,
you can
there's
totally let that
there's
go.
That's the thing. There's so many games out that I haven't finished that I am like halfway through and really passionate about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then that is a problem.
Yeah. no. I know. There's too many good games this year. It's like an actual good problem to have. But I started playing through Chef Brigade. That's quickly risen in my games I want to finish. I got to play through Hollow Knight because I've heard nonstop good things about it. I'd like to finish Assassins. That's kind of the only AAA game left that I haven't put enough, that I enjoy a lot and haven't put enough time into. And then, that's really, I want to play Pyre.
Okay.
That's the last one.
What do we know about Pyres? I'm talking like 12-ish hours.
I think it depends on
I saw.
I heard
how
about
you,
10,
how you
12.
play it, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to start that one over. I played like 4 hours of it when it came out and barely remember what was going on. So,
Yeah.
Jason, what about you?
Yeah.
Oh, Neo.
Yeah.
Looking at Jason,
Neo,
reminded me to
yeah,
play,
like
to
Neo.
play through more Neo.
I hate to say it, but like Neo is on my list somewhere around like number 10.
Really.
I would love to put some time into that.
I bought the
put
console
a-
version just because I didn't
Yeah.
have access to a PC. I'm not going to have access to a PC
in time,
which
right?
I had started it on, but I liked it enough to go out and buy it.
Yeah, it plays fine on there. But I want to put more time into Neo as well. I booted up Absolver finally, and I got over that hump where you're finally in like the end game stuff, like after you beat those first handful of people or something. So,
Like fill out that map they show you.
Yep.
Is there more after that?
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a big criticism of that game is
Yeah.
like where it just kind of falls flat after that.
'Cause at that point, you're just-
experiencing that now.
You're just
but-
fighting other players at that point, right?
Yeah, from
Okay.
what I can tell, it's just a PvP
So I played Absolver and got past like what felt like the tutorial sequence and got dropped into a more open area where there were other human players running around.
You can choose to actually do that offline, and that's
Yeah.
how I chose to do it.
But it seemed like I ran out of the area, like this is the hub area. That was the only spot where I was seeing other humans, and I'm kind of like, oh, well, I'll take this path. And then it was just like, okay, here's 3 AI guys for you to fight at the same time. Like the most I fought up to that point had been 2, and even that was.
It gets
Like,
rough.
yes,
out
that
there.
is that is
So
my
it just seemed like it was just this immediate spike of just like, oh, by the way, I hope you're good at this.
Yep.
my chief criticism. Like, yeah, you will hit a point where there are like 4 guys attacking you at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, that feels like it just breaks the mechanics.
Yeah, it felt it was like a really weird leap all of a sudden. It felt like I was somehow had ran in the wrong direction.
I felt that way several times in
Yeah.
like the Dark Souls games, where I get to an area, it's like, oh shit, I'm really not supposed to be here. Man, I cannot take these guys. But if you keep banging your head against it, you're gonna have a bad time. But if you think about it like strategically, like you can go back and just completely change up your moveset and find moves that have like an area
right.
of,
That'll kind of
you can spec out for that stuff. And that's where that game I think really, really shines. It's such a
it
cool-
feels like it just needs like a little bit more of a breadcrumb trail
Yep.
that gets
Sure.
you from A to B on that one, because
A little
it felt
bit
like
more.
every direction I was running in was like, oh, here's a fucked situation, here's another fucked situation. It's like, okay, am I supposed to go fight human players for a while?
I
Like, what
enjoyed getting unfucked in those situations. Like I really loved the openness of that world. It's very like minimalistic. They don't really hold your hand an awful lot. They just kind of put a bunch of blips on your mini map and just say, hey, go deal with that shit.
Just reminded
it's
me
cool.
that the first boss I fought in that game spawns like 4 guys at a time alongside him to fight.
Cool.
It's just like, it's a lot to manage
Yeah.
in that game.
But yeah, once you get in that mindset, I think that game's great.
That's cool.
What else? Yeah, I really got to put some more time into Horizon.
Yes.
I'm feeling really good about that. Pyre, I got to check out. I picked up Assassin's Creed. I want to play a little bit of that as well. But then, I think it's just a lot of the AAA stuff that like you guys have spent time covering throughout the year. I want to make sure that I'm kind of versed in that.
Yeah.
But I'll get up to speed for sure.
Cool.
Man, so much good stuff.
Yes. Nier, Mario, and Horizon is kind of my short list for this long break. Almost at the end of Route B and Nier.
Is there anything that like really big game that you're just like, I think I played enough of that?
Breath of the Wild for me.
Same here.
Yeah, like that one. I mean,
that's-
I put probably 70 hours into that thing, but I did
okay.
not come close to finishing it just because there's so much to do. So, like, yeah, I feel like I'm good on that. Like, I want to finish it, but I'm good on like being able to talk about it and entertain people's arguments for it and stuff. I feel like I'm solid.
Don't think I will ever go back to that game and finish it. Like I just hit a point in that game where I was having so little fun with it, and I was like, I think I'm good.
I think I'm gonna restart and play it on Switch, but not anytime soon because I was playing on Wii U.
That's where I'm at. I also played it on Wii U and then got a Switch. So,
Speaking of Switch, Jan just picked up a Switch.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I should have some type of information or knowledge about what's going into everything.
Yeah.
So I'm actually halfway through Horizon and dropped everything to pick up and play Super Mario Odyssey.
Cool.
And, man, that is totally stolen me away from Horizon, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I think that's just been the story with Horizon this whole year with the time window it's come out in, and that
keep
Came out
people just
against
forget.
Zelda.
keep
so-
picking it up and putting it back down.
Definitely.
Something about that game is like almost there for me, but not quite. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is about the combat. I think
Horizon
is
is really good. It's I don't know. Like I got way into the story.
That's the thing that's keeping
aspects
me
of
going,
it,
for sure.
and kind of where that story
Yeah.
goes and how they
Yeah.
wrap it up. Like the larger kind of nature of the world
Yeah,
stuff,
totally.
not necessarily like what's Aloy up to.
like even
that
even
stuff, like whatever.
like even
but-
the writing on the collectibles is kind
Right.
of intriguing. Every little text snippet I find about the
Mm.
old world is like kind of adding something to the mystery.
Right. Yeah. I've seen people compare like that stuff to Nier in terms of just like they are kind of telling a very similar
Oh.
story.
Huh.
And
Okay.
and that's
Yeah.
I like that aspect of
Yeah.
Horizon quite a bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think I kind of trivialized the combat at a certain point. Like you get
You
to the
found a
point where
real good groove in that.
yeah, where it's just
didn't
like I'm gonna
deviate.
be in this bush and I'm gonna whistle and
I
I'm gonna
actually-
stab this thing to death and then move on and do it again and do it again.
I
and do
actually
it again.
avoided
Yeah.
I avoided getting that whistle ability because you said that just kind of ruins the game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to like, not take the coward's way out or something, then maybe that's a way to go. But I don't know. They give you the tools for a reason. So
yeah.
It's something about the loop of fighting those big machines because they're constantly charging at you.
Right.
And you have to hit them in very specific points on a moving target. But
Yeah.
it also takes time to ready to the bow. Like there's like one too many things going on there.
Yeah, well,
Like
you
I'm
get
constantly
it has the slow
dodging.
motion bow stuff.
Yeah, that
right?
helps a
And
little
that's-
bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's not quite.
It's something about it isn't quite coming together for me. I'm still really enjoying the game, but the combat is kind of.
The combat looks really good.
It looks
to me.
the game looks incredible. Like the design
Yeah,
of the monsters, like everything about.
I don't know. I feel like they're a little. I mean, like they're very intentionally over designed, but I feel like it kind of is the Michael Bay Transformers problem for me, where there's just all these moving. I mean, the parts themselves aren't moving, but the beasts are charging so quickly, and there's so much on them that it's a little hard to tell what's going on sometimes.
Yeah. Well, so I just figured this out at like 15 hours in the game. I don't know if they ever explicitly tell you, but when you go into the like scanny mode and target a guy for a few seconds, it highlights the parts on him.
Yeah.
And then like those highlights stay for
I'm
like
just
a minute.
talking from like a purely like, oh, what's this cool creature? Like, what is it?
What's this weird robot panther?
Yeah, but it's like
but you're like, is
kinda-
that a leg or is that a what? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I see what you mean. It's nothing as bad as Optimus Prime's lips.
No,
But it's still.
Invoking the Michael Bay Transformers was maybe a little harsh, but it's
Yeah.
the same similar idea of
God,
like.
does he have lips in this?
Yeah, what the hell?
The thing, it's
Does he really?
fucking
terrible.
Yeah.
What's wrong? What's wrong with the face mask? The
Yeah.
little-
That's a
little
great.
panel that moves up and down.
What's wrong with just fucking looking like a truck but a guy?
Yeah.
Apparently that was too much for him.
Obviously.
Hey guys, help me out with Wolfenstein. Like
Okay.
there's
Put it on easy.
Put it on the
Put it on
easiest.
easy. Okay. Because I'm really not. I'm not enjoying playing that game.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a problem.
And
Put it
then,
on
but
easy.
all these cool moments that I keep hearing
Yep.
about, I want to experience that.
Yeah, it's
But I'm having a tough time in the shooting segment.
How far are you?
Really early still.
Okay.
I think
do-
the thing there is just you stay on the move.
Yeah.
Like your instinct is to kind of hide behind cover or
That's-
hang back and like
yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
hold down this corner and wait for them to come to me.
And
Every
aim
time I
down the
did that,
sights.
yeah, every time I did that, I just got
Like,
murdered.
do not play
Okay.
it like a Call of Duty game. Like that is.
Yeah.
It makes you think you should play it like a Call of Duty game, but
Like a
it's-
literal-
It does
But
not
I
work.
found myself doing better even in just like open areas if I just kept running in a fucking circle,
Yeah.
shooting people while I went.
Yep.
I have a tough
Like
time with that.
it's definitely like a stay on the move and
literal.
and if
running
there's
down.
if there's a lot of enemies, that's when I would dual wield.
Okay.
Like don't be afraid to just burn through your fucking ammo because you'll get more.
But not only that, it's like the level design. I'm having a hard time. Like
A
I'm getting
lot
lost
of
a
the
lot.
level
that
design is
happened to
not
me.
great.
The indicators, like the indicators for the captains, don't have height on them, so
Okay. Oh, sure.
you'll get to a point where it's like, oh wait, I need to go upstairs and do this all over again. Like the objective indicator's not great. Like there's just gameplay things in that game that are not.
Some of
particularly good.
the levels don't have like a very natural flow to me. Like the
Yeah, a little bit.
like Manhattan, where you've got these like collapsed staircases
Yeah,
and floors
that
and like,
one's where I got
walls with
particularly
holes in them and
stuck.
stuff. Like
It's-
some of those spaces don't make a lot of sense
Well,
to me.
the
as
spaces
like,
end up being at odds with like the flow, your flow through them from a gameplay perspective. Like every single one of those environments ended up, or with one exception maybe, was something that I wanted to like explore because the sides, like the collectibles, were so fascinating, and they made that world feel lived in and believable in a way that like between that and the nature of the story is like haunting and fucked up. You're just like, man, I want to see more of this because of like how engrossing it all is. But
like every readable thing in that game is worth finding.
But
sure.
the act of like making your way from encounter to encounter and the kind of the set progression through those levels feels like it is at odds with that stuff sometimes. So there were a lot of cases where I would clear out an area and then spend a bunch of time like, oh, I'm gonna look around for collectibles or look around for whatever.
Sure.
And see what's there, or
Like
just
they-
check out this fucked up environment because
Yeah.
it was like a lot of that stuff looked cool.
I feel like it's telling because they do the smart thing of marking all those collectibles on your map that
Yeah.
you've missed. Like
Yeah,
if you've
yeah.
gone within like I don't know 5 feet of it or
Right.
something and didn't pick it up, it shows up as a pin. But like
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I went back to a pin that was there and like kept going back and looking at the map and going like, where the fuck is this thing? I'm standing right in front of where you say it is.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's a floor down.
And and there's nothing here.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what is going? Yeah, it's kind of messy.
Yeah, that stuff should be better. And I'm realizing, I realized kind of, as I thought about that game more and more, that was the problem that stopped me from playing the previous Wolfenstein. Like, it was that exact issue of just like, merged with just like, I don't think these stealth mechanics are particularly well fleshed out, and that seems to be how they want me to play it when there's these captains involved. And the feeling of just like, this combat is good, but maybe it's weird, and the weapon switching is awkward.
Yeah.
Like that stuff, I feel like the story in the first Wolfenstein was not like hooky enough up front to make me realize I needed to endure that stuff because I wanted to see the rest of it. So like I dropped Wolfenstein initially.
The game ends real strong, I will say.
Yeah.
There's some fucked up stuff at the end of the first Wolfenstein.
But
like it ends with like spectacle in a way that the second one does not.
Yeah.
The second one just kind of like you're at a certain point you're just like, wait, I'm at the end of this?
Right.
Where did this come from?
Yeah, definitely.
First one, it is imminently clear that
right.
you
This
are
is
at
the end of that
game.
Yeah. And so I feel like from the gameplay perspective, like I don't think they changed enough from 1 to 2. I think they could have done more to make that a better game, I guess is what I'm saying. And so the advice, and people say this about Nier and stuff like that too, but I think Wolfenstein is actually a case for just like, the gameplay, you get what you want out of the gameplay on easy anyway, in terms of just like, I just want to use these weapons, like especially after you get some of the upgrades, like once you get the shotgun upgrade that makes it fire 3 shots at once, like it's fun to use in a way that like most of the weapons in that game aren't, and so playing it on easy, you just kind of get in that rhythm a little bit more easily, and it's a little more enjoyable.
But I'm not going to miss out on anything else besides.
No,
not at all.
Okay, gotcha.
But also the other thing to remember is sometimes you can just run away.
Okay.
Like you don't need to finish every fight.
I gotta finish the fight.
Yeah, but finish the fight in a global sense, not in an individual encounter sense. Just keep moving. It doesn't matter.
I just keep shooting.
Yeah.
Finish the war.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right.
Finish the war by starting a war really is kind of what you're really doing. But yeah.
I want to experience that stuff.
I mean, there are things in that game that
seems
must
like
be
it's
seen to be believed.
Yeah.
It's totally worth getting through.
Yeah, it's very and just the writing overall and the story they're telling and their portrayal of what America looks like under Nazi rule, an America that rolled over after the nuking of New York is fascinating. And you look at it and it's hard not to look at it and go like, yeah, it might actually go that way. If this happened, this might have actually gone down like this, and that's it's fucked. It's like scary. It's like you feel like it's feels bad when you see that
Georgia
shit.
might be.
It's a little I mean, literally that is what the game is playing off of. Is they're kind of saying like, yeah, white America was kind of okay with it because it's white America. It didn't really change for them. And you're like, oh fuck, like oh wait, oh huh,
Yeah,
that might pockets of it. I guess it's always been like it's a lot of holding. They're holding up a funhouse mirror to what things are really like. No, I don't know. Yeah, it's makes you think, I guess.
Cool.
Could be a better game though. Sadly.
Yes, absolutely. It makes you also think it could be a better game.
Yeah.
Here's hoping that we get like some sort of Doom Wolfenstein crossover.
Yeah.
That'd be tremendous.
That would be the best of all possible worlds.
Are you saying the Nazis are actually from hell?
The demons.
I'm saying they
all
could
along.
very easily.
Yeah.
You could fight Nazis in hell very easily.
Yeah.
We actually got an email this week arguing that's exactly where all this is going.
Doom
Rage
Guy and
2,
BJ.
I think.
Do you think? Okay, here's
the crux of the ultimate conclusion of this argument is that BJ becomes the Doom Marine.
okay.
I could see it. I mean,
you know,
honestly, there's just enough occult shit
After
around.
you kill Mecha Hitler at the end of the next game and you become the Doom Marine.
I was going to ask if
circle.
you think that they could make Doom Guy as a compelling protagonist as they did to BJ Blazkowicz.
No, because I like the faceless Divine Avenger treatment that they gave him in that game. Like,
But
I don't
that's
think
the thing,
putting a face to him is not
They
what
did
you
make
want.
the Doom Marine like a compelling character,
yeah.
but it's all in the
A
writing.
little.
Well, more. I mean, it's all in the writing around it. That's like purely in the collectibles.
He is a mythical hero. Like
Yes.
that's like the type of character they were creating there. And they did it.
And then he's gonna pull the thing off, and it's gonna be Sarge from Quake 3 under the helmet. And he's going, "This place is doomed." Credits, and then
Smoking a cigar under that mask.
yeah,
Games are weird this year.
they really are. This is like there's changes in the air, I guess, around this stuff is what it seems like.
Yes.
It seems like that a lot of the old ways are breaking down.
For sure. Speaking of which, what have you been playing of note?
I have been.
What's up with games?
So I have been.
Lately.
I have, for whatever reason, I've decided that I want to work the beat of checking in on these fucked up video games that keep coming out and seeing how broken or unbroken they are this week.
Yeah.
Dookie House correspondent Jeff Christman.
That's right. Coming straight at you with Battlefront 2. It's not a good game. Dan's reviews on the site.
Dan
and I
was
think
honestly harsher than I expected.
I think he nailed.
I'm not saying it was undeserved.
No, I think he nailed that game 100%. Like I read it and went, yep. Like oftentimes, I think when when one of us writes a review, there will be like, oh, I'm 90% of the way in agreement, and I see why you would say the last 10%, and cool. It's not always the case that like I 100% agree with every single sentence in a review.
Sure.
That Battlefront review is like, yeah, that's exactly what I would have written. This is 100% what I would have written about this game.
Yeah.
Would he give it 2 stars?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I was surprised to see it come in at a 2.
Because it doesn't have, like the issues with that game are not like the microtransaction loot box controversy stuff is a very real problem.
Sure.
But the problems with that game don't get solved by them tweaking numbers or doing whatever it is they claim they're going to do. It's just the campaign is not good. The multiplayer structure is not good, and then all of that structure is then informed by their poor player progression system, which is which is built in league with the microtransactions and stuff like that.
I think I read a line in his review that was like it seems like this was conceptually just made in like a boardroom as opposed to
a lot of it. I mean, when they put out that beta, it literally came with a fucking PowerPoint presentation.
Exactly.
It was just like, here's John Boyega showing you some charts, and that thing is just sad.
I get that, but I mean, like as a Star Wars fan, is there enough there? Like
it
Yeah, I mean,
depends.
like the action is fine, right? Like
Beautiful looking game,
It's very
right?
turnkey. Like it's fine in the negative sense. Like you play it and you go like, yeah, I guess I shot all those stormtroopers. Whatever.
Okay.
It's not.
Are we talking campaign or multiplayer?
Yeah, campaign. Like the multiplayer is kind of the same thing too.
Yeah.
It's just like, I went on this map again and did this thing, and the options you get as a character, the options you get to tweak your loadouts and the hero loadouts and the ship loadouts and all that stuff are rarely compelling.
Okay.
And the pathway to unlock those is bad. So it's a situation where you're just like, okay, well, I mean, I clearly need to level this stuff up because the people that have are like objectively more resilient and better and have better options than I do.
their grenades blow up bigger.
Yeah, exactly. It's not always different options.
Yeah.
It's literally like, oh, this is just a better option than this one.
That's frustrating.
And
And it's all random, right? Like,
well,
what
it is
upgrades you get is just dependent on what.
To a certain extent. You get crafting parts,
Yeah,
which
right.
you can then spend to unlock or upgrade the things you want.
But in a very limited fashion, right?
Yeah. Well, it takes
Like,
a very long time.
that's what I mean,
It takes
like,
an extremely
yeah.
long time.
To
Even
make
longer
the
now that they're
things you
not
want.
letting people pay money for stuff.
Should we just talk about all that now? We should. We're talking about it.
Sure.
What a weird week it's been for Star Wars Battlefront 2.
I am fucking blown away.
Like,
I
Thursday
can't,
night
I
was
can't
like-
remember another thing like this.
Who was it that tweeted? Was it Jason Schreier from somebody? Somebody tweeted like, I think EA is about to pull a Microsoft or an Xbox One or something like that, and everybody
so
just braced.
It is
I
like,
wouldn't-
Like, wait, what
Yep.
massive? Like, okay, they're about to backpedal on some big policy.
I was like, wait a minute. So I went and grabbed the Xbox and hooked it up and loaded up Battlefront. And like at that point, like the microtransactions were out of the store.
Yeah.
Or they were out of the in-game store. You could still find them if you
couldn't buy
searched Battlefront.
crystals in the store, right?
The crystals were gone from the game.
Yeah.
In terms of like you hit the button that says buy more crystals, and that page was just empty.
To be clear, the crystals are the paid currency.
Yeah, that's the
that
paid
you
currency
can-
in the game.
Also, right around that time, I saw a tweet going around. Somebody was in a GameStop and had taken a photo of a physical Battlefront 2 crystals card.
Yeah.
They were just like, hey, wait, can you just buy this and it doesn't work now?
No,
What the
like
hell?
all that stuff was. So I mean, if you bought those credits previously, they're still like the system
system didn't change.
Oh, you can still spend
They
them?
didn't patch the
Okay.
game to change anything. They
Okay.
just took out the ability to buy the premium currency.
Okay.
So if you got it from some other source, if you already had some, like the account, like they
still spend them.
haven't changed
Okay.
anything in the game other than that.
Right. Which I feel like is the thing people are not focusing enough attention on here.
Is they haven't done.
This doesn't actually fix the problem.
No, in fact, like they in a lot of ways just traded one problem for another one. Well, whatever. Like they built it fucking poorly to begin with.
Right.
Like building the system the way they did is, I was going to say criminal, but that's way too harsh.
We'll see what Belgium has to say.
Yeah, it's fucked up. How about that? And removing the hey, what if you could pay your way out of this only means you're now left with a game that has a bad progression, and the system by which you level up that progression is now you're forced into this like hugely long grind to get the stuff you might want to get. And by the way, most of that stuff is not worth getting.
Don't worry, Jeff. It's only temporary.
Yeah, so they issued their statement. Like, so all that stuff got pulled out of the store, and you're like, wait a minute,
People are
what the
screaming
hell?
like, "Yeah, we got him! We did it, guys!"
But then the statement from EA is very much like, we are temporarily removing microtransactions from the game. We will only bring them back when the game is when we've made changes.
Once the Metacritic scores are in.
Once
No,
the
'cause
holiday season has passed and we have sold X units.
I wonder, like, because you only make a move like that if your business is being impacted negatively, right?
Or if a voice comes down from on high, and it
that-
sounds like
If,
that may have
if
been
say
case.
the head of Disney were to call the head of EA and be like, "Yo,
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind
going on
that,
over there?
that same head of Disney would have had multiple rounds of
Oh, yeah.
approvals over the system to begin with.
yeah,"
so
like the idea that Disney was blindsided by any of what's going on.
I mean,
here is insane.
if the only thing they could have been blindsided by was the negative, how negative people were about this stuff, and rightfully so. It's a bad system.
Right.
It is a bad system. So, but don't people are like, Disney saved us from the evil EA. It's like, no, idiot. Disney is implicit in every step of this process. You don't think they had approval over every single character model and like, what's you doing a skin for this? No skins like this. Yes, skins like. The bonus skins that come with the expensive edition, like they probably had multiple rounds of approvals on multiple facets of this game. So the very idea that like, Disney came in and lowered the boom, like, no, they came in and said, oh shit, what are we going to do? Hey, let's get our heads together around this stuff. You got to fix this stuff. What can we do to fix it? And this was the step they could take, like 3 hours before the game launched,
Yeah, this is all
basically.
before the game had officially
Yeah,
come
like
out.
if you
Yeah,
paid for the
wow.
expensive version of the game, you got to play that as of Tuesday, but the game didn't like officially come out for whatever that's worth, or you couldn't buy the game for $60 until Friday.
It was funny. I was in a random Discord with a couple Dota players, and they're not like super into games or anything, but
I mean, you said they're Dota players.
one of the guys was like talking about the EA stuff, and the other guy was like, just to put into perspective how big this problem is. Like, one of the guys was like, "Oh yeah, they were like stealing people's credit cards, and you were like making you buy loot boxes with the stolen information, right? Like this problem has scaled outside of games."
I mean,
Wow.
that's FIFA Ultimate Team. It's a totally different EA product that you get your credit card stolen
like,
for.
like the range of impact this is having is like ballooning by the day. I feel like, because part of the story is that the what's the official name of this? The Belgian Gaming Commission.
So I think
is now taking a look
if you
at
had
loot
to look
boxes.
at a tipping point, it's two things. I bet so there's a story that showed up on CNN.
That's the other thing I was going to get
Like
to.
it was CNN's like financial section.
Yeah.
Reporting on this stuff in Belgium and saying like, this Star Wars game's taking a big hit, and that's the sort of thing. Once you start getting financial news out about how people don't want to spend money on your thing, and also backdoored with, hey, there's a government that is potentially going to look into this stuff. Like, that's stock price. That's like that's a negative sentiment that is larger than just like, you can't hand wave that away of just like, oh, those video game players, they sure do hate everything. Like, no, that's suddenly like, we got a real problem on our hands. So I'm guessing that was probably the tipping point. Yeah. Combined with just like, maybe people really did refund a whole lot of pre-orders of this game, or not buy it, or their day one numbers were looking bad, or maybe things did start looking grim. But I have to imagine that the thing that holds more sway there is like
the public perception.
Yeah,
was
or not
suffering.
even the reporting, the financial reporting specifically around this case.
The headline on that CNN story was, "The new Star Wars video game is under attack."
Yeah, by EA.
Yeah.
EA did the attacking there.
And then, like I said, the Gaming Commission in Belgium is now looking at loot boxes, specifically in Overwatch and Battlefront 2, to decide if they constitute gambling or not.
You know, it's funny. I think I said last week that the last thing anyone wanted was the government to look in on any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I should clarify the U.S. government.
Yeah.
Sure. I should probably specify that is more what I meant there, because maybe the EU might have something, because keep in mind, like, that's where a lot of the like Steam refund stuff came up first, was because of consumer rights stuff in the EU and stuff around that. So
my limited understanding is the consumer protections are quite a bit stiffer in Europe than they are here.
Weird.
So along those lines, maybe that might be something worth looking into.
Yeah.
But the U.S. government, the ESA, they're not.
Stay out of my games.
They're not gonna.
Get out of
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of the sticking point with the Gaming Commission is that, like, at least in the case of Overwatch and Battlefront 2, they're both rated PEGI 12, so they're literally being marketed to children.
Sure.
And potentially contain something that they would consider gambling. So that's obviously a bad thing.
Yeah. I think the is this gambling? Yes, no thing is way more complicated. Ultimately, I don't think it is, but I also don't think that blind boxes are good for video games, and I don't.
They don't have to be a literal one-to-one with gambling to be considered shitty.
Right.
And the problem is, even if they're ruled as gambling, as we've seen in China, there are lots of ways to avoid loopholes and workarounds. And like, this is a gift, and you're exchanging a gift for a chance to
You're winning pachinko balls.
You're buying this definitive thing, and it comes with a bonus chance to maybe get one of these.
Which is the thing you actually want.
But also, like, and I said this, when Halo 5 came out and had its card packs and just everyone into the blind box card pack sort of stuff, like, I just want to know what I'm getting.
Yep.
Like that's my major problem with it, is like spending, and we gave an award to that type of blind box stuff not that long ago for how fucked it was. In terms of just especially when it's like consumables. I mean, if anything, the extremely slight consolation you could take about some of the more modern stuff is that these aren't consumable items, generally speaking.
And I mean, this all comes from the big trend of games as a service, right? This is because that it's a lot easier to make a video game that's going to live for a few years. And people are going to spend more than the initial $60 on it.
I don't know. Like, I don't look at Battlefront 2 as a games as a service sort of thing necessarily, because it's structured exactly like Call of Duty is every year and has been for a while. Like,
also, they're putting them out on a 2-year cycle,
Right.
They're selling them to you as fast as they would any other
at full
game.
price and all this other stuff. Like,
but the advancements have come from like Overwatch.
Yeah, no,
and
totally.
Stuff like that.
The advancements have come from the mobile space. I mean, this is all people just adapting free-to-play techniques.
I wish I had saved this quote. There was a quote from the head of, I think, a Korean mobile developer. It's like it was a mobile company that has been dabbling in these techniques for something like 20 years.
Yeah,
saying like, "Hey, you guys are going to kill this market. Like, you were oversaturating this."
No, that is absolutely
to the degree that this business model will become unsustainable.
The negative sentiment that stuff like this, when they fuck it up this bad as Battlefront has, and Need for Speed to a lesser extent.
So they also quietly made changes to the Need for Speed microtransaction and loot.
Again, same story. I don't care how cheap you make the parts or whatever. That game is still not good. But yes, the progression in that game is still a problem.
Was it the same issue of just like drop rates were not high enough that
they raised credit? They raised credit rewards. It was one of those things like, hey, today we can do this, but we're looking at it, we're listening. And so on and so forth. So the initial change to Need for Speed, I think, is, they raised credit and rewards from different things, and I think they're changing something about the way the part shops work, because you buy parts, but the parts are there on a timer, like the inventory refreshes every 20 minutes or something like that, and most of the parts there suck. And there's a system where you can take cards or take parts cards, I guess they are technically cards. And turn them into blank cards that you then use to spin a slot machine
Refresh
to get a
the
new
store.
part out of it.
Great.
And so those are things that come out of the blind boxes that they sell you as well. And so part of their thing was reiterating, like, we intend for you to, like, it's useful for you to go buy every part out of the store and then, you know, dust them all for spins on the wheel, because when you spin the wheel, you can lock in like one of the three things of like, because, okay, so the parts have a level, there's a specific type of part, whether it's a brake part or nitrous or turbo or whatever, and then there's a brand of the part which affects which stats it increases. So if you're trying to level up your car in a very specific way, you might want only parts from a certain vendor, or you might want only a specific type of part, or so on and so forth. So basically, you would use these blank cards to lock spots on that slot machine to force you to get the specific vendor you want, or the specific.
I just
it's
want to buy
fucking,
it.
It's
I just
garbage.
want to buy it. I
It's
want to.
It's a
open
waste
up
of fucking time.
Loot box and get a goofy hat.
I don't want to. Yeah, exactly. Like the very idea that like that's somehow fun or engaging.
No, that
is preposterous. And you know, like, I think there are ways to incorporate random chance into rewards in a game that like doesn't feel like a scam.
Yep.
Like Forza Horizon, every time you level up, you get a spin of the prize wheel.
That's fun.
So it's just like, oh, it literally is like a fucking slot machine looking thing, and it spins, and you go like, oh, I got a car, or oh, I got some credits. I wish I would have got the car, but oh well, the credits are fine too, whatever. And
Dota has the Wheel of Fortune in it.
yeah, and that stuff, I think there are ways to do that in a game.
Totally.
It's not like,
I like
hey,
me a good loot box. I like me a good
it's not I paid real money for a thing and now I get to spin a wheel. Oh, I guess it's not even close to the thing I wanted. So let's repeat this process until I go broke. Yeah. So yeah, I think that Korean developer is absolutely right. Like they are poisoning the waters for this type of thing, which I think can be done in a way that is not garbage.
I guess. I don't know. I'm sitting here
not like,
starting to question all the time I've spent with Destiny now at this point, which is a game entirely based on random chance.
Yeah,
but
true.
random chance that like that you aren't forced to engage with to progress anymore.
Yeah.
Like Destiny 1 was a little too fucked up in that regard. Destiny 2, if anything, goes too far in the other direction.
Yeah.
And the blind box stuff in Destiny 2, I think, is a problem because you are getting gameplay relevant things out of those boxes.
I'm even
but
talking
also
about,
you don't have to buy them, and you shouldn't. Because
no,
you don't
definitely
need to.
not. But I'm even talking about like the fact that I got the same raid weapon 4 times in a row out of raid drops. You know,
Yeah.
that is very much a question of what am I doing with my time.
Sure, yeah,
I
totally.
mean,
This game does not respect the time I'm putting into it.
But that's not that doesn't feel like gambling or a monetary problem. That's
and that dates back to like Diablo.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like at a certain point, like maybe we should start questioning the amount of randomness that is in games in general.
Sure,
Like, it's.
And there are some games that handle it well where you won't get duplicates. Like I mean, Dota chests aren't perfect, but whenever they roll out new chests, they do a thing where there's like, 6 common to rares and then 2 ultra rares. You won't be able to duplicate any of the 6 common to rares until you have them all.
Yeah, they instituted a system that prevents duplicates. Which
and then every time you open one, you have a chance to also get one of the ultra rare ones. Right. So like that is a system that is not perfect. You're still paying money for something you don't know what you're going to get.
Also, that game is free, and those items are cosmetic.
Yes.
So you never feel compelled, or the compulsion does not come from I need to make myself better at this game and this is the only way.
No, the compulsion
I
is
need to keep up with my friends who have leveled past me and I need to pay money to get there.
Yeah.
It's literally just like I need a sick hat for this fucking space dog.
Even League, which has like its masteries, I think, or the runes, which cost like a little bit of money.
Yeah.
You can still earn those from what I can tell. They haven't really changed up the process to earn those like at a decent rate, and they're still like level capped to a certain degree, so you can't just like go all in with a new account and surpass everyone.
Also, that game is free. And I think that ends up really mitigating, like it makes it more understandable why they would put payment systems in at some of these checkpoints here for that sort of stuff, because you're like, well, I got the game for free, so of course it's going to hit me up at some point with something I might want to buy. And I think you can go wrong with a free game. They can, fuck that up and make that predatory or make that a problem. But when you try to get it at both ends, the way EA is, by saying, hey, spend $60 to $80 on this game, by the way, the grind rate is so unreasonable that you're maybe going to want to pay money out of pure frustration if you end up liking this game enough to do so, which that's a big if.
That's just a good sign that the game itself, the progression system is
right. That's the thing is the, you know,
if they offer, you know, a way for you to just, you know, pay past that, they're, you know, essentially admitting that, oh, maybe you're not going to like this part of the game. Maybe
that's like to kind of pivot. Unless we're not done talking about this.
The other thing I would probably say is that, like, when you look at how many times EA has announced changes to this system in Battlefront, you start to realize that they have no fucking idea what they're doing, and that they built this system with seemingly very little vision. Because of how willing they are to just go like, I don't know, how about, what if it's 75% cheaper? I don't know. Oh shit.
A friend of the site proposed a Game of the Year category the other day, which was Best Battlefront 2 Apology of the Year, which made me realize, wow, they really have come with a message to the community. I want to say
there have been at least 4 different times that they've had to like try to get out and say, here are changes we made to the boxes.
I feel like their one contingency plan was lower price by 75 up to 75%. They had that in the chamber.
Yeah.
And then they did that and people were still furious.
So,
and at that point,
you said when they dropped the cost of the heroes, they also dropped the amount of credits you earn, right?
From the campaign.
From the campaign.
Just from the campaign.
I saw somebody say it was by 75%.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. But that was just the campaign. You're still getting the same amount from the multiplayer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so. It's but also the rate you get out of multiplayer is not necessarily, it's not as governed by skill as you would like. Yeah. So it's more just like time spent.
Right.
And that sucks too.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say to Jason's point is Assassin's Creed Origins is actually a game that seems pretty all right with its like loot. I don't even want to say loot boxes because they straight up will just sell you equipment and stuff that will make some of the earlier missions easier to breeze by, and like that there are ways to make money from your games. And this seems more in line with what I want to see.
Especially, I think
like, what's the nature of those items?
It's
like you have more health, you do more damage. Like,
here's a cool sword. Some of it is like, do you want like the Ezio costume?
Yeah,
which I think is like a Uplay reward point. That's not even a real money thing.
But you can buy like a legendary bow or something.
This is primarily like single player content.
Yes.
It is a purely single player game.
That's fine. That's fine.
And it's optional stuff where you're just like, I don't think I would ever buy this stuff.
But those are real money purchases.
Yeah,
to be clear,
you buy Helix. They've had this system in place for at least the last game, if not the last 2. But yeah, you're buying Helix credits and then spending Helix credits on maps for collectibles or just straight up, here's a sword.
Wait, you have to buy the collectible maps with real money?
If you want them, otherwise you use the bird to find them. It's not, buying the collectible maps is like in Forza when you just like
that's
put a bunch of garbage on my map.
I guess
that makes it a hassle.
I mean, maybe I just because I had just played Horizon, but they sell those maps for like a pittance of in-game credits there, so like that seems a little bit on the fence to me, but whatever.
Yeah, it still sounds technically a cheat.
Yeah,
I guess
it still sounds okay in Assassins. It doesn't sound like you're missing out on anything.
It doesn't sound like something you're forced to engage with. I think that's the forces with Star Wars Battlefront 2.
I'm enjoying Assassins a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah, me too.
As somebody who kind of fell off the franchise midway through 2.
Oh man.
I haven't checked back in at all since 2-1. So this is fun. It's a really cool world. I feel like they kind of play up the mysticism of Egypt. They talk a lot about how Egypt is a land soaking with like magic and stuff in a way that doesn't feel exploitative. It feels like kind of earned. You're spending a lot of time there. It doesn't seem like it'd be cool if we just had some cool mysticism stuff because it's Egypt. It feels like there is attention paid to like the gods, and you're learning a lot about like the different gods and I really like Bayek as a character. I think he's got a lot of range.
He's really good.
What's his thing? Like
Dead Son.
Yeah.
Avenging his dead son.
Okay. Yeah. Because like Ezio was all swagger and wisecracks.
He's like a cool dad that's also got like He has a lot of range. He's
Okay.
like, kind of like, oh, these kids. I love these kids, and I'll hang out,
Okay.
and I'll be like a big scary guy and chase these kids around.
Here's why I ask is because Ezio was nothing but kind of Han Solo wisecracks, and then when I never played 3, but was the character Connor.
Connor
his name? For
is
like
just
I
a
felt like
dick.
the thing that everybody hated about Connor, from what I could glean, was that he was too serious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
he was
immediately made me wonder if like Assassin's Creed protagonists just have to fit into that Ezio mold.
No.
From now on.
I think like what was it? The last one, Syndicate was the last one, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Yes.
And that game had some stuff going for it, but it didn't make me a believer in the future of the franchise. It was like a thing of like, oh, this game is neat, but I still feel like I don't necessarily care about Assassin's Creed. Like this game is actually kind of turning me around in a bigger way as to like, oh, yeah, they should keep making these games. Don't make them every year, but they should. I would play more stuff like this. It's doing it for me.
I saw some people suggesting I think there was like an earnings call or something that Ubisoft did a week or two ago, that some people suggesting that maybe it's going to go to an every other year of Assassin's Watch Dogs, which sounds like a decent.
I could see it
to me.
until they
I could be okay
they
with
just
that.
make those
Until they
two
just cross
franchises
over.
the same franchise.
Until they,
Like it's
until
not.
they just converge.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bayek's thing is he's he's a medjed, which is kind of like a super cop. So he's very like duty bound to help people. He feels compelled.
It's like a Witcher.
Actually, he's a lot like a Witcher.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I really like the redesigned combat. I think it feels good.
That's what I'm
I keep
most
fucking.
interested in.
I keep like forgetting, and I'll get into fights and start mashing on X and go, I'm an idiot, because it's not that at all.
So the way it works is you use the shoulder buttons. You've got light attack on R1 and shield break on R2, which is kind of your heavy attack, and then you can shield on L1. So it feels more like a kind of third person action
and then bow
game
on L2.
than a Batman.
Kind of sounds like Dark Souls a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean you've got a dodge.
Do you lock on?
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. So there's like a lot of circling and blocking and shield bashing, and that sounds like Dark Souls.
Pretty intense skill tree too for a lot of different perks. Like I just unlocked a parry.
Okay, so a lot of abilities that you're unlocking, not just like
Yeah, there's some passives. It's a mix.
Passives, yeah.
There's like 3 paths. One of the hunter, which is like your stealth stuff and your bow stuff. One of combat, which is just like combat stuff, and then one that's kind of like tricks and abilities and like
smoke bombs and fire darts or whatever.
sleep darts and all sorts of stuff like that.
Do you like that sort of stuff?
I haven't gotten too far into like that path.
Yeah, same here. Like that stuff, I feel like Assassin's Creed is. They don't do the tool stuff particularly well, or they haven't.
I've heard the smoke bomb is supposedly OP. I tweeted about being bad at the game earlier before I had kind of really grasped the combat, and a lot of people said try and get that smoke bomb ASAP. So I'm looking forward to getting that one. But yeah, it has a lot of really good side quests that kind of tell their own stories in very short ways. Like an early example of one is a man comes up to you and said that bandits stole his Book of the Dead, and he needs it to get back to get to his wife in the afterlife. Basically, he needs to be buried with it. So you go and you do the thing, and you come back and you find out he's died in the time that you've been out. So you have to like bring the book to his grave and bury him with it, and it's just like this cool little 15-minute.
Yeah, like from a gameplay perspective, it's just like you take it back and they go, no, he's dead, and you just take it back somewhere else. But it doesn't
feel like
bit
just,
of writing. Yeah,
I mean,
this might sound like the most self-evident thing ever, but like I like side quests with good writing.
Yeah,
like it's nice.
Like
It's nice
The
to have
Witcher
something
or
feel.
something,
Yeah. Or like I'm finding even like a lot of the side quests in Nier are not great from a mechanical perspective, but they add a lot to the world. You know, and like Horizon's even kind of the same way. Like I feel like everything I'm doing in those games is like fleshing out what these games are trying to say.
It's the thing that like Wolfenstein, Horizon, and Nier have in common is that thing of like the more you can flesh out those worlds, the more interesting the whole thing is.
Yeah. Like I feel like I'm coming into Game of the Year feeling like I mean not that games have always been horribly written in the past, but like I feel like games writing got good this year in a way that
better.
I'll say better for sure. I mean, there's definitely the ways to go, but like I feel like I'm coming away from games like this more being able to very clearly identify like what the themes were and what they were trying to do with it than in a lot of cases, and like that's really satisfying.
Yeah, totally.
What's the world design in that game like? Because like I saw you play some of it on that Xbox stream we did, and like it looked like there was maybe some kind of just big stretches of desert.
Yeah, I mean,
is there a lot of just like running from place to place through like flat sand, or
it's riding a horse in
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
cases.
Okay.
It's nice because
is it like pockets of? Are there oases? I mean, like, is it pockets of little towns and stuff? Or
Yeah, like
is
there's
Yeah,
a town. Then the edge of the
okay.
town there's farmland, and then at the edge of the farmland is desert.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kinda-
it didn't look like the wide stretches necessarily.
and a lot of
had
the desert
in
will
them.
have like little caves and
Okay.
stuff where like a bandit hideout will be.
So there is stuff to find out there. It's
Yeah.
not, like totally featureless.
No, at least from what I've seen,
Yeah.
I've only done
Yeah.
like the second major
They
assassination.
reuse destinations in some cases, so they've got daily quests in that thing. Like there's a merchant you can go to every day, and he'll be
Weird.
like, and it's a little kid, and he says like, "They stole my shit, go get it."
Yeah.
And then like it sent me back to the bandit camp that I had just cleared out in the previous mission, and there was only one guy there because I had killed everybody else. So I just like went over there and smoked him and got a sweet axe.
Rory was talking like they have. They almost sounded like MMO style, like super boss challenge
Yeah,
type
I
stuff.
haven't seen that because you
that
have
game?
to be higher level to,
Like a public
to reasonably
event?
take that
Yeah,
on.
it's
But yeah,
something.
there's kind of
but it's a single player game, so
Yeah.
that sounds like a weird analogy. But yeah, that's what
Yeah.
he made it sound like.
Also, I was surprised how straight up Destiny the inventory stuff is.
Every time I've seen
Yeah.
that character screen, I'm just like, whoa, okay,
You
sure.
Yeah, you very much just have like here's the like I forget what they call it, the power or the strength of a weapon.
Oh, they even do that?
like there's
Oh,
a
wow.
number value
Like,
when
they
you
just
hover the weapon,
Yeah,
and then
there's
if you
a
investigate
quality
further.
item and a DPS,
and they just
like a quality number.
Do they just aggregate all that onto
They
a?
don't.
No, they don't
Okay.
aggregate
Yeah.
it, but
Okay.
you can just see on a per item basis.
But even the layout of that character screen is just like character in the middle, two columns of gear, and a little cursor that you move.
It's effective.
It's like,
you
all right,
know?
Yeah.
sure,
It works.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that game is cool.
yeah, seems really
A
solid.
lot cooler than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
when we
like-
saw it at E3, you looked at it and go like, this doesn't look like it
People were-
runs great. It just looks
People were
off.
pretty down on it coming out of E3. I was surprised, but
Yeah.
yeah, like I came to this break going like, all right, I've got Horizon and Assassins is out. What should I play? And I picked Horizon, but it sounds like I need to play some Assassins too.
Yeah, me
I have a
too.
feeling Assassins is going to be a lot of people's 2017, 2018 game. 'Cause
Yeah.
I feel like if it's long, from what I've heard, it's very
Yeah.
long. I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat it in time for end of the year stuff, but like if they support it in a decent way, I could see a lot of people playing that into next
It's been
year.
that, it kind of ties into some of the loot box stuff, honestly, but like it's the support stuff that Ubisoft has been doing has been really fascinating
Yeah.
to watch.
Did you see they just announced a third year of Rainbow Six Siege
Yeah, they
content?
did.
Oh,
And,
that's cool.
and they have they also, that kind of comes on the heels of them announcing more PvP options coming to Wildlands, and also like they had it seems like they had a rough go with For Honor. That is now like they're getting there with it. They're like, oh, we're doing another season of For Honor. We're making these changes. We're doing this. We're doing that. Like they seem to be finding it in a way that I think publishers like EA and even Activision to a certain extent are not. Like they're finding ways to make this like lasting support thing make sense. I mean, I guess I don't know. I didn't pay close enough attention to their financials to know if it's like working out for them that way. But when we talk about like first week sales mattering less and less, it's because of stuff like this. Like Rainbow Six Siege seemed like a game that 5 years ago, whatever, if you'd launched it, 5 years ago instead of 3 or whatever it was, 2, that game would have been DOA and you never would have talked about it again.
Yeah.
But they stuck with it and turned it into something and fostered that community in a way that now it's like seems to be doing quite well for itself.
That's cool.
And it's really fascinating to watch them do this stuff, and and watching how it informs some of what Assassin's Creed has in terms of like these like big super boss events and the daily challenge stuff. Like it doesn't feel like, and I guess I need to play more Assassins, but it doesn't feel like they're shoehorning in a bunch of bullshit to make like, oh, here's some stuff we can update. It's more like it feels like a natural fit to the design of those games. Like Siege is a multiplayer shooter. Naturally, it's going to be able to go in a direction. For Honor, the same deal. Wildlands didn't launch with any PvP at all.
Yeah.
They had a season pass, and they made good on that. And the season pass content, I don't know, that's not necessarily what I was looking for out of more Wildlands, but it's neat and different, and that was kind of cool to see. And then to suddenly be oh, by the way, like here's this PvP mode, and we're going to keep supporting this game in different ways. It was just, it's weird. It's
And
another one of
potentially
those,
in a good way.
But potentially in a good way.
Yeah.
Potentially in a way that counters, I think, what we're talking
Yeah.
about with Battlefront and Need for
Totally.
Speed.
Right.
Is I think that they're finding it in, like I said, I think they're finding it in a way that EA is definitely not. And we'll see how this stuff goes. I think big games are in a strange transition right now. We're watching EA try to have it both ways by charging you $60, $80 in some cases, whatever it is, and then also try to get you to buy boxes too. And Destiny does that as well, but it's kind of a different situation with Destiny because of the nature of what they're trying to sell you after the fact.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, just watching these different approaches, I think there is a potential for these companies to find it and find ways to make all this stuff work. But going back to what you said about that Korean mobile developer, like, yeah, stuff like this Battlefront stuff has the potential to really fuck all that stuff up.
Yep.
Before anyone finds the right non-exploitative way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
we'll
anything
see.
going
We'll
forward
see.
that's going to have loot boxes, people are going to be, there's a
It's
stigma.
Well,
to
it's
it.
full on
I don't even-
backlash now. It's
I
it's
don't
people
know
that
how
are
you ship a game
Yeah.
of the style of Battlefront post Battlefront.
Right.
Like the backlash being what
you
it has
sell a
been.
season pass, I guess. I don't know. Like this was,
To be clear, they are putting out all the DLC for free for Battlefront 2, right?
I think that
That's
was the
my-
thing.
that's
That was
my
their
understanding.
big E3 message was no season pass.
Yeah.
And that the content would just come out, and
Yeah.
then the other shoe on that is like, and we're doing this system to try to make up for the money we would have made from season pass sales.
Yeah.
But they've blown that up so bad, so bad,
So bad.
so bad. I'm that Thursday night when they pulled the plug on that shit, I was just like I said, I can't think of another situation like this. I was just blown the fuck away.
Yeah.
Like hours before the game officially launches, this huge change made in the shoddiest, most ramshackle, last minute way possible.
Yeah. When you spent like 30 minutes over on the GameSpot side talking to them about that stuff, like that's when I knew that this had the makings of like a hot mess type of.
Dude, it's beyond that shit, man.
Yeah. Also, for the initial exposure that everyone had to this being that they pulled that currency without a statement ready to go.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, they followed up like an hour later or something.
Right.
But, like,
well, I think they realized, thought maybe people wouldn't find it. Right.
well,
I don't
that's
know.
exactly
Yeah,
what
but-
I mean. It's like, how did you think nobody was going to stumble on this in the
Right.
90 minutes it took you to get some kind of messaging out there?
And then just to have their two versions of the apology, the blog post that they put up, and then like the GIF version of it for Twitter that just has in big letters like we're sorry.
Yeah.
It's like it's too late. It's too fucking late.
yeah, totally.
You boned this up
Totally.
so bad.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this.
Also, God forbid we have to keep having companies put these statements out, but can we have a moratorium on phrases like "we hear you" and "we're listening"?
Right.
Because that appeared like 6 times in that statement.
And that's all that's what they said on Reddit. That's like
Right.
every step of the way has been it's like, oh well, yeah, now
Like
you
that-
are like,
But also those phrases are basically meaningless. Like,
Yeah.
say what you're gonna do.
yeah.
Don't just say, "Yeah, we get it. You're mad." Like that's kind of how that comes off to me.
Got thoughts and prayers for the
Right.
Battlefront 2
Right.
community. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
let's hear some kind of plan of action.
Yeah. But I think that speaks to like this stuff coming like very last minute and them not really having a vision for how this stuff should have worked.
Yeah.
Because the number of changes they made in the last few months of development, like post beta as this stuff, because keep in mind, like I want to say, so the big thing out of E3 was like, hey, no season pass, and it's going to be great. And then it was like some YouTube video or something later that they were like, oh, here's how the star cards work and here's how the loot crates work. That was like way after the fact, like here's how this stuff's going to go. That felt like it was just kind of like, just being slid out the side door. We're like, oh, here's how we're going to do this stuff. And that's probably a bad way to do this. It's the sort of thing you wonder, like how, a company like EA, you would expect to devote a lot of time and money to research, like user research, focus testing, like that you'd think that they would know just how bad this stuff could go, and they pressed ahead with it anyway. So it makes you
really
think.
pressed. Like,
Yeah.
they thought that they could get away with.
That's
like,
right.
That
That is the
yeah.
core of this issue. Is they just pushed it too far. Like other companies are finding ways to not completely alienate their customer bases, but you guys just couldn't resist.
Yeah, this is the thing. When Forza 7 came out, and we talked about like, oh, the blind box mod stuff seems real bad, but they're not taking real money yet. But they will. This doesn't seem like a good system, and they came out and apologized. Like, oh, we fucked up VIP, we fucked up all this stuff. We're sorry. We're making some changes. Like that was bad.
Yep.
This is like some fucking next level meltdown type shit. Like, where were the game changers? You know, they spent all of E3 talking about, you know, that we brought in people and look at this menu. Isn't it good? Yeah, this is a great menu. Like, they like played up how they're talking to the community as a part of E3, and then this is what they put out. Like, oh, okay, you either didn't listen or you like paid for their travel in a way that they're like, it's all great. Everything you're doing is awesome. Keep it up. I don't even know. I would love to know how it got this far. How does this happen? How do they get to this point where this is the thing that they push out?
Yeah.
And then, you know, where were the turning points, and was it frantic, or was it measured? Was it like, oh, well, we put out the beta at this price rate and people said this, so, you know, we're going to plan B, which we've had in the chamber for months and months. Like, at what point does it just become like, okay, this is too hot? We have clearly, we have fucking pushed it too far, and now
there had to have been voices along the way telling them, "Hey, this might be
they're
a
always
little too far."
I mean,
but it's like
every game has arguments around that stuff.
I mean,
like,
there are stories. Go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe it's the moment where you have the most downvoted comment in all of Reddit's history.
Yeah,
but like, yes, but also like we're talking about the same company that got voted like the worst company in the world multiple years.
Well,
it's at some point you get so resistant to that type of community interaction that you're just like, fucking haters, whatever, fuck them.
But that's such a more massive scale. That's not like one thing you can point to and say, this is the worst because of this one little thing they did. This is like, there's this one little thing they did and it's the worst thing, and it's something that's very, like, it seemed like a voice could have a difference. It seemed like the internet's voice could alter this in some way, and it did. Whereas, like, you know, getting voted most evil company in the world or whatever, it's just like, yeah, they suck.
Yeah, like that just seems like the same contingent of people that are like naming boats bad things in contests on the internet.
It
right?
is. It 100% is. But, you know, I mean, like, there's something rewarding to feeling like you have a voice, especially here in the present that we live in.
Right, absolutely.
There's something rewarding to feeling like you have a voice.
Yeah, and I think the key comes back to just like the focus of these arguments and stuff like that. Like the tone of a lot of that stuff ended up being like, how dare you do this to me? It's like, no, just don't buy the game.
Yeah.
Just, you want to send the message? Don't buy the game.
Yeah.
You want to send the message? Tell other people why you're not buying the game, and if they agree with you, tell them how to not buy the game.
Yeah.
Don't bomb it on Metacritic. Don't this and that.
Yeah.
Just
like that doesn't do anything other than make it look like a tantrum. Like,
don't buy the game.
Focus.
Encourage your friends not to buy the game.
Don't threaten death to the developers. Real or fake.
Yeah.
Just
how about
don't buy the game and focus your energy on telling people why you aren't.
Yes.
And the Metacritic bombing, all that other stuff, like or Amazon review bombing, wherever you take it, like that stuff just, it makes it look childish.
Yes.
It makes it look like a tantrum, like a focused effort of just like, no, they have crossed this line and I'm out, and here's why I think you should be too. That's probably the effective way to do this.
Yeah. Before we move on, at the risk of talking this topic to death,
I'm sure it'll come up again.
Yeah, probably. It's probably worth mentioning this VentureBeat story that says that supposedly the game had cosmetic loot box stuff at a time, and that Lucasfilm and Disney shut that down.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like
they don't want to have Luke to have a mariachi hat on or something.
Yeah.
That checks out.
Yeah.
That seems like something. Again, you know, Disney would have extreme levels of approval over all the aspects of how these characters look and feel and all that other stuff.
Especially with a new movie coming out, you want to make sure they look exactly how you want them to look.
Yeah. And they're hyper protective of that stuff. So, and you know, like they just tossed out the expanded universe stuff. Like I'm sure that they are skittish about canon on some level. Despite what they'll say in interviews about like, oh, we don't, games don't need to be canon. Like,
there's going to be no Luke with 3 U's in Battlefront.
Yeah.
I just want a Skywalker with 2 Y's.
Yes. Get some loot in there.
Do you think maybe the loot boxes were geared more towards just cosmetic items to begin with?
This story makes it sound, or they refer to it as a cosmetics heavy Overwatch-like mode.
Okay.
That Lucasfilm shut down.
Yeah, sure. Fucking
so
what color lightsaber do you want? Make your own Jedi. Like, sure, whatever.
So in light of that, like if you said to me, hey, design a progression system around a multiplayer Star Wars game, you can't change the appearance of anything in here.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do. I don't have a good answer to that question.
Well, you can design a progression. It becomes like design a like
Or a monetizable
paid,
progression.
Like
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
what I
part
mean.
where
Yeah.
it falls apart.
Yeah. Like it's I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
So that may have just been kind of thrown together, maybe last minute.
I mean, I doubt it was
Slapdash.
last minute, but
Yeah,
but
right.
it is a hard thing to know. You know, it's
Yeah.
not an easy problem to solve if you have those kinds of constraints.
Well, if the word from on high is yes, design me something that I can sell on top of the game, then you know, if the message from on high is we are definitely selling extra shit in this game,
But it can't be costumes.
but it can't be costumes.
It can't be the thing that every other game successfully uses to monetize itself.
That's incredibly difficult, but also like that.
And also
that mandate shouldn't happen in the first place.
And also no season pass. You're not going to be able to sell DLC.
Yeah.
But that doesn't
Go ahead and make your number.
That
Good luck.
it doesn't excuse anything that they did.
Yeah.
But that is a tough nut to crack.
Yeah.
I guess I should play some Battlefront 2 at some point.
I don't
know.
I honestly like.
I still want to see that
If you
campaign.
want to see the car crash, like go for it.
I want
but
to see
it's
that
not-
campaign, and I enjoyed the first one.
Sure. I think the first game was better. This game, I think, you know, like
But there's 14.
more. There's 14.
There's
Yeah,
14.
there is more.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Those
but,
bars are bigger than those other bars.
But I feel like the progression in that game had like made some kind of sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to contrast this with how Call of Duty handles its concepts for boxes and unlockables and stuff like that, because Call of Duty still has the same basic progression system it always had, where, you know, they make their changes here and there about, like, you know, what you get to keep and win and all this other stuff, but it's really like when you get to level 19 you can unlock this gun, and then they do cosmetics and bonus versions of the guns that you can like if they basically tie the things that come out of the crates to collections, and if you complete that collection you get a bonus item on top of that collection. So if you get these 7 pistol grips or this calling card, this uniform, and this and that, then you get an epic version of this gun, which in the case of World War II is just you get more XP for using that gun. It's the same as an existing gun in the game. But I played some Modern Warfare Remastered, which is very similar to World War II in that there's kind of you just run around and shoot stuff.
I'm sorry, I have to step back. Every time you say World War II, I have to remind myself that's the name of a video game.
That's the name of a video game.
And not
like World War
Not
II.
a reference to a momentous event in history, but the actual name of a product for sale.
A product for sale.
What the fuck?
Well, you know, keep in mind, like, this is also the industry that spawned a game called World War II Online.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Anyway, so they've done this differently in the past, where there were guns that had gameplay benefits that came out of that stuff, and World War II, at least at this current time, doesn't do that. I figure they totally will,
Because they didn't have it back then.
Yeah, they didn't have loot boxes back then. Yeah, they had baseball cards. This goes all the way back to that. The only thing you can count on is the piece of gum. Everything else, who knows?
Not even now.
Yeah, right.
There's no gum.
I know.
But the thing they did with Modern Warfare Remastered is they had limited time events, and they added these guns over time and all this other stuff. So I suspect World War II will end up in the similar spot of just like, oh, we've added 3 guns to every class, but you need to complete this process to unlock them.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that'll go.
It was a major turning point in the war when Russia gained access to the submachine gun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, when the Red Army started manufacturing those higher XP machine guns, everything changed.
Said, this gun is truly epic. Get it in our boys' hands.
Man, games are what a strange time.
Yeah.
Everything is just bizarre right now. Jan, real fast before we move on, where are you at in Mario? What kingdom are you on?
So I just
progress check.
I guess I beat New Donk City,
Okay.
or finished the quest to turn everything on. Did that
Oh,
whole
okay.
sequence that
You
Dan
get
went
the
through the
big
quick look.
musical sequence.
Oh
in there?
yeah, oh yeah.
It's a cool thing.
That's a great moment.
I'm right before that. Having fun?
Yeah, I'm having
Yeah.
a lot of fun. So I actually grew up a Sega kid, so Sonic's my main man. I know that might affect my employment.
Is or was? Like
Right.
really
Was.
lay it out. Okay. all right.
Are you sure we
was.
vetted this guy?
But I grew up playing Super Mario 64 also, and this is just giving me so many pleasant memories, and everything just looks amazing and fantastic.
It is a really good looking game.
Yeah. And it's funny going flip-flopping between Horizon, which is a beautiful game in a different way, to the Mario aesthetic, and I just can't put it down. Yeah.
It's hard to put down, yeah, especially when it's like, oh, I just got a moon. Oh, there's another one over there. Let's go. Yeah, it's
I got to a point over the
the
last few levels where I got a little more focused on just like, I'm going to just
mainline
truck.
stuff.
That's kind of where I'm
Yeah.
at. Like I just did the Lost Kingdom, which is where you get derailed to on the way to New Donk City.
Mhm.
If you remember that tiny
Yep.
little
Yeah,
one,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where you have to like fix your ship. You can't leave until you fix it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hit the like 10 required moons or whatever, and just immediately flew out of there.
Yep.
I
Like,
didn't
it
much
feels
care
like-
for that area
Really?
overall.
That was
like I got a
maybe
little
my
more
least
than
favorite
10,
world.
but
Really?
that might be
Yeah.
Huh.
that's kind of a low point, I think, for the game,
Interesting.
so.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. The
Yeah.
caterpillar thing is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
stretch
that's
across
neat,
gaps.
yeah.
That's a cool thing. But like I don't know if I should bring this up or not. But like, how far do I have to go?
It's to 2/3.
Let's say the time is at a premium
Let's say
here.
you're 2/3
Okay.
through the main
What is it,
story.
like 12, 14 kingdoms, something like that?
I'm not sure.
12 sounds right, but I don't know. I didn't
Yeah.
count.
Because like if anything, like I said, I'm kind of surprised at how fast you move through that game.
Yeah.
If you just mainline what you have to
Right.
do to
Yes.
keep
Yeah.
going, it seems
Yeah.
like you could get to the end and
Speed runs
A
are around
short-
a 1 hour mark.
yeah, like totally.
Which I haven't watched any of those yet.
I
Yeah.
started watching when it was really fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's not in any way to say the game is too short
No.
or whatever, but it just seems like you could get to like an ending in like a very short period of time if you
Yeah.
wanted to,
That's fine.
which maybe that's the way to go.
I mean,
A lot of Marios.
things
Well, I
change
like
after
that,
you
yeah.
do that. So
Hearing
there's a
that, yeah.
reason to do that.
Hearing that makes me kinda wanna
You'll end up going back to all those. Like if you really are dedicated to playing that game to
Yeah.
completion, you'll end up going back to every area anyway.
Okay. Or I guess the thing I should
So-
ask is like you're not shortchanging yourself if you just kind of mainline.
Nope, not at all.
right?
That's what I
Okay.
did.
It doesn't leave you
At
in
a
a
point.
deficit later on or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or you're just not missing out on anything if
Yeah.
you don't let yourself breathe a little bit.
No.
Okay. Cool.
We can't move on. I have one more game.
Okay.
I want to talk about Battle Chef Brigade.
All right.
Yeah.
What is that thing?
What are
It's-
you playing it on? First and
Okay,
foremost?
so I should mention I kickstarted this game.
Okay.
Get out. Get out.
Back in like 20, it feels like forever ago, and it was completely off my radar. Other than when I would remember, like, oh yeah, I Kickstarter, and I would log in and check in like the updates of the like 3 games I have kickstarted. Still waiting for Barkley 2, but it came out on Monday. And I only remembered it was coming out because I happened to see and play a little bit of it at Day of the Devs. And, you know, we have a quick look on the site. So if you want to see the game, you should definitely check it out because some of it's hard to put into words. But I am playing the PC version and I am having an incredible time.
Wow.
It is
Really? Okay.
dark horse, like, game of the year. I'm not saying it is one of my games of the year, but holy cow,
Huh.
it is making its mark in a lot of different ways that
Yeah.
I am enjoying. I guess they talked a lot in interviews about how they wanted to make a homage to Iron Chef, which is a show I was obsessed with in high school. I've
Yeah.
seen probably every episode, maybe multiple times. Any other Iron
This
Chef?
is like the
Yeah, dude.
Japanese version
Classic,
of Iron
yeah.
Chef, not like Iron Chef America.
No,
even though they,
no.
yeah.
Wasn't Mark Dacascos the host of Iron Chef America?
I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he kind of had that over the top like persona.
Yeah.
That they
William
tried to-
Shatner was the original
Oh,
Iron
that's
Chef
right,
America back when it was on UPN.
I mean, I'm a big
Wow.
Only the Strong fan. So
Right.
I
Banana
Yeah.
way.
Give me
Yeah,
Fukui-san or give me death.
Yeah, so this totally nails not only the aesthetic of Iron Chef. So the game is you're a up and comer trying to make it into the academy. There's a big like food cooking academy,
Okay.
and you are trying to make it through like a kind of mini tournament so you can be admitted to the school. And the aesthetic is very much Iron Chef. There's a chairman. There are secret ingredients. There are judges who will use very flowery language to describe what
Yeah.
you are feeding them. So not only do they nail the aesthetic, but they also really nail the feeling of like the excitement of Iron Chef, because as soon as the bell rings, you just start running and you just book it out. So the way that it's set up is it's kind of split between hunting and cooking.
It's a weird hybrid
Yeah.
kind of game. Like
I pulled up. I just
half-
pulled up the screenshot, and there's like a giant dragon that you're fighting.
So it's half of a kind of a beat 'em up side-scrolling game where it's kind of like Smash, where all your directions will do different attacks in combination with A, and then you have a special, which is a dagger, and then different directions will do different things with your dagger. And when you kill a creature or a plant, it will turn into
an
ingredients.
Yeah.
And each ingredient has either earth, water, or fire undertones. And it's kind of thematic. Like a lot of the vegetable and earthy stuff is green. Fire is meat a lot of times. And then water is like, more like liquid based stuff. And you bring those ingredients back to the kitchen and put them in a pot. And as you're dropping them in the pot, they kind of, you're working with a 4x4 or a 5x5 grid, and your cursor is a 4x4 square, and you can basically rotate pieces around inside of your cursor. So you're just kind of rotating around to try and make match 3s. As you match, it'll upgrade into higher flavor profile gems. So if you match 3 reds, you get a second type of red, and if you match 3 of those reds, you get et cetera, et cetera. And so you have to constantly be watching out, because certain judges will be like, I want a fiery dish. And so you have to have more fire gems, but you have to use the secret ingredient in every dish. And so you run into instances where like the secret ingredient will be a water type ingredient, but somebody will want a fire dish. So you're out there fighting these monsters being like, okay, I know I want a fire type, and this is kind of a fire monster. I'm going to kill it.
So do you find yourself like avoiding specific enemies because you don't want their ingredients?
Yes.
Okay.
So you basically matches are around 8 minutes long.
It's all timed.
Yeah,
Like, as soon as they hit go, it's like, you're kind of bouncing back and forth between like combat out there. Okay, like let's start that cooking, run back out to the world, get some more ingredients.
Yeah, you'll definitely. So the nice thing about it is stuff will never burn, so you can just leave it sitting on the burner. And so you don't have to worry about like the most frantic part about a cooking game is like worrying that stuff is going to burn and like moving stuff around.
Sure.
You don't have to worry about that. You just have to make sure you get the plates in front of the judges by the time limit.
And there's special like items like pots that give you like a bonus to a certain like fire or something.
It'll
like
turn
that.
it into a match 2,
Yeah.
right? So if you have a fire pot, you
yeah.
only have to match 2, but it won't match anything else. So you can kind of like, you have multiple burners, you can be cooking multiple meals at once, you can kind of move them around at any time. But I'd say more than the gameplay, this game is very much about its story. It is straight up an anime.
I was gonna say, as soon as you said like Chef Academy, I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Like the cutscene starts about like ancient chefs who were the first to tame wild beasts and cook with them, and they opened up this academy. But then there's this bigger plot about like the food of the land is starting to spoil. And so it's kind of, very loosely showing its story threads about the picture of the world as a whole, but you're very focused on Mina, who's your main character, and the friends you make at the academy and stuff. And you can challenge different chefs.
It's all about the friends you cook along the way.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Because like, my favorite chef that I've cooked against, and he's now my friend, is Ziggy. He's a David Bowie looking guy who's also a necromancer.
Okay.
But he's very charming.
Like Bowie.
A charming necromancer.
And he hangs out with a little ghost that like flies around and mumbles. It's very cutesy. It's very lighthearted, but like serious at the same time. I definitely think that this game is going to have a like pretty diehard cult following. I can tell that this is a game that some people will really latch to. I wish it was a little bit more difficult. I haven't lost yet in terms of the platforming or the cooking competition. So, I'm only on chapter 4 of 6, but I've heard that it's deceitfully longer than it leads on. So
the name and just the look of the screenshots and stuff like that made me think that this was a like local multiplayer thing.
Yeah.
Like I just at some point these days, indie game with the word battle in the name, you're like, oh, well, this is like some 4-player couch
co-op
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that I make snap judgments like that, but yeah, I saw
Yeah.
screenshots of it and immediately
I was like, okay, 4-player puzzle game. It's like Overcooked. It's gonna be like this. It's gonna be like this. It's gonna be like this.
I'm not going to say I wrote it off out of hand,
Yeah.
but I definitely thought it was a certain type of thing.
Yeah,
just
and
from
it sounds like it's not that.
look of
Is
it.
there like a multiplayer thing?
I believe that there is a competitive multiplayer, like 2-player couch version. There are also like daily challenges where you can play as different chefs, and they'll have like attributes that they cook with. There's also some goofy stuff like a break the targets mode, like in Smash Brothers, where you can like pick different characters who again have different like moves and stuff, and timing or time how quickly you can bake. And then the last thing I'll mention is they do a really good job of breaking up the core gameplay by allowing you to take jobs in the town. And each of the so there's a restaurant job, which is basically you have to make these patterns as fast as you can. So it's like all 3 use the basic puzzle system, but in really different, unique ways. One's like make these symbols as fast as you can. One's a puzzle mode where like you have X moves to make a dish of a certain quality. And then one's a combat, like drill
okay.
thing. And those do a really good job of teaching you the mechanics that you are going to be introduced in the next main battle. So you'll learn about like bones, and bones are a wild card. If you match 3 bones, you can match that with anything else. Or like eventually poison will start to get in the food, and you have to like cook that out in a certain way. It's
weird.
It's deceitfully deep, and I'm still having a lot of fun for what is very much 2 kind of very simple mechanics, but that have been really well fulfilled.
Cool.
Stop adding games.
How's
that I need to play.
how's the voice acting in that? Is there a
It's
lot of
really
voice
good. It's
dialogue?
like
I played a
almost
really
fully-
early version of this game, so this is
Yeah, it's almost fully voice acted.
Cool.
The narration, all the main characters, all the side stuff. Yeah.
okay. That's neat.
Really good music. Also, really incredible soundtrack so
Awesome.
far.
I got it on PC, and I completely forgot that it's coming. to
Yeah,
Switch
I totally
as
would have
well. Like,
gotten
it's
the
out
Switch
now
code
on-
if I had remembered to swap that in my backer rewards. But
Yeah, I want to.
it definitely seems like it could be a good Switch game.
Yeah, totally. Ooh. Yeah, I got to play more of that.
Too many games.
Mm-hmm.
Too many games.
Mm-hmm.
So many games that we're going to go take a break.
All right.
I'm gonna go play some games.
We'll come back and talk about more games. No.
Sometimes during those lazy days, the holidays are here, right? You got plenty of time to just kind of hang out, maybe dodge the family. Why not build a website? It's something when people come and ask you, hey, what are you doing? Can you help me move this food? Can you take out the garbage? I'm working on this website. But here's the secret. Building a website doesn't need to be hard. In fact, it can be incredibly simple with Squarespace. Whatever you're trying to do. If you're to start a business, stay away from your family, build a blog, publish content, whatever, sell some stuff, they've got templates for all of that stuff. They make it easy for you to turn your idea into a new and unique website. Everything's optimized for mobile right out of the box, so people can use their phone or whatever. And they got analytics, so you can see how stuff's doing. There's nothing to install, nothing to patch, nothing to upgrade, but they will be there if you need customer support. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The future is coming. Make it brighter with Squarespace. Head over to squarespace.com for a free trial. When you're ready to launch, use the offer code BOMBCAST, and you can save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com, and the offer code is BOMBCAST.
All right, we were going to roll into the regular news, but some stuff went down during this
This
break.
is the ultra regular news.
You can't contain yourself.
We've got to save him.
I thought this was something that we would laugh about during the break and not actually talk about on the podcast.
There's no laughing matter in
This is
Brad.
serious business.
All right, serious news needs a serious bumper. Yeah.
Breaking news.
HQ's Scott is being kept in a cage and cattle prodded against his will by the co-founders of Vine.
Free Scott.
Free Free Scott.
Free Scott.
Save him.
What's up with Scott?
So the Daily Beast ran.
Oh, you mean Quiz Daddy?
Sorry, yes, Trap Trebek.
Did he come up with that one?
Okay. Only he could have come up with that one.
Yeah.
So this is the Daily Beast reached out to the host of HQ,
Yes.
which is the trivia app we
have
talked
talked
about
about it
not that
before,
long
right?
ago.
Okay.
Yeah, Scott Rogowski, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Rogo.
Rogo.
They reached out to him to just ask him questions like, "Hey, you're the host of this thing. What's up?"
Do like a little light profile
yeah, a little
piece.
puff piece profile on this guy. He's a stand-up comic in the New York, in Brooklyn. I don't know. And they asked him some questions, and then at one point they decided to contact HQ and ask them a couple of questions
At which point, one of the co-founders of HQ, who's also one of the co-founders of Vine, is it Russ Yusupov, fucking flipped out and got on the phone with them and said that Scott is not authorized to talk. So the response they got, so let's see here. So yeah, Scott agreed to the interview and chatted with the Daily Beast on Monday afternoon. The Daily Beast simultaneously reached out to HQ PR and Yusupov, one of HQ's founders, letting him know of our plans to write a story about the host. Several hours later, we received an email from Yusupov stating that HQ was not making Scott available to discuss his involvement with HQ with the media/press. The reporter informed Yusupov that we had already interviewed Scott and that the story was nearing publication, but encouraged him to call us with any concerns. And then it sounds like he called up Yellen, immediately raised his voice is what they used here, and said they're completely unauthorized to write about Scott or HQ without his approval. And if they wrote any type of piece about Scott, he would lose his job.
What the fuck?
Whoa.
Quote, you're putting Scott's job in jeopardy. Is that what you want?
Did he actually
Scott
say
could
that?
lose his job.
These are quotes from
putting-
this fucking guy.
You're putting Scott's job in jeopardy?
Yeah, by running this piece. Please read me your story word from word, or you can email it to me, or all other requests he made.
And they ran the story, right?
They ran the story with this now at the front of it of like, can you believe this insane interaction? Because at the end of the
Wow.
call, he said, by the way, this was all off the record, which they said, no, it's fucking not. That's not how this works.
It only is if we say it is.
My favorite
That's
part.
not something you say after the fact, dumbass.
My favorite part is Yusupov's objections began with the line, quote, Scott said that despite the attention, he'll still be able to walk down the street and order his favorite salad from Sweet Garden without being accosted. He cannot say that, Yusupov shouted. We do not have a brand deal with Sweet Garden. Under no circumstances can he say that.
Can you fucking imagine? When asked to confirm that Rogoski can't say he personally enjoys eating it sweet, he cannot say,
It's highly unprofessional of you to reach out to one of our contract employees without my permission. He cannot say that people want trivia, is a quote that the founder of the HQ Trivia app said to the Daily Beast.
but they do.
But he can't.
And then, they also stopped to point out that he also then just revealed that Scott is not a full-time HQ employee.
Yeah.
Yusupov said he'd approved the Daily Beast to write an article about Scott's life, but they were not allowed to include any mention of HQ or his role in HQ, or he could be terminated.
Jeff, you had mentioned, we were kind of talking about this during the break, you had kind of mentioned that since they were rolling out more and more hosts, maybe you were thinking that they had to let's diversify and make sure
Totally.
that no one person
Exactly.
is tied to the HQ.
Everything as soon as I loaded it up and there was a second host one day, and they didn't mention Scott's not here. I immediately realized they can't let him get too big. They can't, especially they're in these fledgling days. If he gets too big and is the face of HQ, which make no fucking mistake, he is the face of HQ.
Yes.
At the same time, the shocking thing out of all this to me is that Scott has a fan base.
I'm not saying that Scott is great at his job.
Yeah.
But I love Scott, and
I'm
I
a
will fight
fan
to
of
defend
Scott.
him.
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
I'll defend
I have
Scott's
complicated
honor.
feelings.
Okay, that I
About
can see.
Scott.
Also, people hate Sharon apparently.
Sharon's bad.
I like how
Sharon's
I like
okay.
I like how matter of fact she is though. She's basically just let's read the question,
There was this
repeat the question,
so
say one very bland thing about the question,
and then move on. It's very fast. It's
Yeah.
very boom, boom, boom.
I can
knocking
appreciate
it out.
that.
There's something to that for sure. So there was another guy one weekend. I loaded up Friday before leaving, and it was some other dude in a suit. And he was just I think was his name Benji? That's just in my head. His name had to have been fucking Benji. But he said I'm one of Scott's boys.
Yeah.
It was this feeling of just it was this realization of just they have a chat in that thing and you see it scroll, and when it's not Scott, people fucking flip.
Yeah. Last time it was Sharon, people were talking mad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
And so it looked like this sad attempt to go I'm friends with Scott. Please.
I'm one of Scott's
Please.
inner circle.
I'm Scott's weed carrier. I get busted so he doesn't. So you got the impression that maybe they were, either they, maybe schedules didn't work out, because I think Scott does host some kind of comedy night on a somewhat regular basis or whatever it is. I've looked into this at one point, but I don't remember the specifics. But it's presumably he does other things than fucking host
Eat at
HQ
Sweet
twice a day.
Garden,
Yeah.
yeah.
Eats at Sweet Garden. lives in a cage where the founders of Vine fucking zap him with a cattle prod when he acts up, apparently. What the hell? So
You cannot tell him that you want trivia. You cannot tell him that we like doing trivia.
fuck, man. Like, this now makes me hate Vine. Like, this is now like, oh, Vine.
This makes me love Scott more, like HQ less, and hate Vine.
Yes, that is exactly how I've come out of this.
I think
as well.
one of my favorite trends this year is people in positions of power not understanding how you go off the record. From the Mooch to Steve Bannon to now this guy who runs HQ.
Right.
People not understanding
how a banner year
how to talk to reporters.
Fucking idiots. Idiots on the come up all over 2017, as it turns out.
Yeah. So where do we go from here?
I think I don't know. That depends. Do they terminate their relationship with Scott?
I mean, they like all the pieces are in place that if they were to follow through with what they've said, they would now fire him. Correct?
I'll just put this out here. If they let Scott go, I am uninstalling HQ.
All right.
Yeah.
And I implore everyone out there to do the same.
I'm taking the Scott pledge.
That's right.
The Rogo pledge.
That's right. We are standing by Scott on this.
I stand with Scott.
For now.
Okay.
We don't know Scott.
Actually, I'm going to dial back a little bit.
I'm not going to throw all the way in with Scott here because I don't know Scott.
You're making it sound like Scott's fan base needs a pet name now. Like, I don't know. What does he call his followers? Rogies?
The human race.
The roguelikes.
It's terrible. I love it.
How many people roughly do you remember?
They've gotten up to like 70,000.
No. I know now.
They got 112.
No, yeah, I know. What I'm asking is, how many did they have when you started?
Under 10.
Was it like 4 digits when you were playing at first?
It was maybe low 5. It was maybe the 10,000s.
I got into like 20 to 30.
Yeah, it was like 30,000 when I started messing with it.
And I don't know. I mean,
ago.
they had scale issues for a while, and the games were. That's what I assumed the problem was. You would load up the app. So for people who don't know, this is a live trivia thing that happens twice a day.
Yeah.
And it's a video. Yeah. So it's a host talking to you from your iPhone screen, introducing questions like a little game show. The questions pop up on your screen. You tap the answer. So it's this merging of a video game show with like app stuff.
Yeah.
And it's neat. It's novel.
Cross-platform, is it iOS only?
I think it's iOS only right now.
In fact, it's iPhone only. Even if you want to play it on an iPad, you have to use the iPhone version.
Oh, right.
Blown up to full screen. It's weird.
They had a $7,500 game this weekend, and I saw there was 118,000 people in at its peak, which is incredible.
Yeah. They've been experiencing tremendous growth.
It's neat. It's a neat future thing.
It reminds me of 1 versus 100.
Yeah.
In that weird, like, this is a weird future-y kind of thing.
It's future-y, like part of the...
It feels like a moment because it's drawing people together on a schedule.
Right. Mm-hmm. Part of the reason I think it's so successful or appealing is that it just looks future-y. Like the presentation is really slick. Like it's this full screen video that fills your entire thing with the little questions.
Except now all I can think of is the host. All I can think of is Scott clearly wearing shorts, just like, but the shot is cut off. So all you see is the suit jacket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's just like him on some ramshackle green screen in some sweatshop. And then he goes right back in his cage, apparently. I don't know, because don't talk about salad, get back in the cage.
He pulls off his suit jacket and clip-on tie.
Right.
And goes back to whatever he was doing.
Yeah. They inject him and he passes out and they put him back in the cage for, all right, wake him up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Zap him awake, put him back to work. Or Scott.
I don't know. This is a hard thing to qualify, but it looks like something out of like of some like Verhoeven vision of the future to me.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Like a fake newscast or fake game show you would see on some satirical vision of the future.
Yeah, except like
it's real.
Except like
just like everything else in real life
out, and you see everyone all watching it at the same time or something. It's not just one person. It's like 100 people on the street, not talking to each other because they're all getting
their trivia.
Like you could see
headroom beamed into their.
5 years from now, Scott might be the biggest celebrity in the country.
Exactly. He is the like Ruby. He's the fucking Chris Tucker character from The Fifth Element.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yes. Totally. Totally.
I hope he dresses like that when it all happens too, because I think that'd be a good look. Yeah. So it's a weird, cool thing. This guy being bananas
just makes it weirder.
Yeah.
More fun.
No, less fun that the people running it are monsters.
Yeah. Less fun if you want to enjoy the app. More fun if you like seeing things break.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, there's positive and negative to all sides.
Be honest though. Do you want to see him get fired just for the crazy drama that would ensue?
I want to see Scott succeed.
Let's not be hasty.
All right. I whether it's there or otherwise, I'm tempted to say, I wonder if that thing has reached a scope where if like they did fire him, if he walks into another job immediately.
I don't think so.
People are like, oh man, we got the guy that hosted HQ.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
like,
he
it's
would
not a
find
guaranteed
something.
success.
He would find something, but I don't think it's not big enough that he writes his own ticket.
Is he like
any
the
means.
buddy in the next season of MacGyver? You know,
Ooh,
like
no,
what
I
are
don't think so.
What are we lining up
No.
for him to help him?
He is in no way.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. A web-based reality
Yes.
show.
Yes. He is not at network TV level yet.
Joe
Not even
Millionaire
close.
3.
Not even
Yeah.
close.
Like a cable TV though.
Maybe.
We'll get him.
Sure.
Have you watched cable TV lately?
He might. I
He
could
is beyond that.
I
He
could
could be
see
one of
him-
the Property Brothers.
I could see him on.
Yeah.
I could see him on E or something like that. Sure. Man. Breaking news.
Bring back Talk Soup.
Developing story.
Yeah, we'll check back in on the story as it progresses.
And then did something else also just the street. Do we want to talk about Street Fighter Red Bull costumes? I don't know.
There was a big Street Fighter event, and they showed off some. It was Red Bull Battlegrounds. They showed off a new teaser for Arcade Edition.
That's the big story, actually.
It's not the costumes. It's
the costumes are just whatever. That's a promotional tie-in, but they're kind of junky anyway. But
Yeah. The stuff they show looks really good. So they're not only adding like new V triggers for everyone, which had been previously like kind of data mined and leaked.
Sure.
But they're also adding stuff like new mix-ups for mix-up based characters, new combo extenders. They're putting
like new moves,
Yeah.
like new V
Okay,
triggers.
so like
this is
a
pretty
full overhaul,
substantial,
not
yeah.
just like here's like a selectable V trigger or whatever.
The impression that I get from what they've shown and how they're talking about it is they're trying to push it a little more in the degree of like Guilty Gear, where these characters are more specialized in their thing and have more tools to do their thing. The combo characters are getting longer combos. The mix-up characters are getting cooler mix-ups, and everyone's getting a second V trigger, which will inherently open up them to different styles.
Selectable when you pick the character, or you'll just have to probably selectable.
I think
selectable.
I should think you select it. It's honestly at this point it's enough that maybe when
To
they
warrant
roll
a
out the
second
new
look,
characters to warrant another check in with Street Fighter V.
Yeah, totally. I'm down. I've been kind of hot or cold about the characters they've been releasing. I'm currently not playing it right now,
Yeah.
but
Is it because they just haven't
know.
like released a character that's tall enough? Like how many Kens do you want to see?
yeah, like
Like
three
how many
Kens
Kens tall? You want to see 3 Kens tall?
Yeah,
All right.
typically.
You joke, but now Abigail's
Yeah,
the new hotness.
Abigail's-
He won that
oh,
tournament
jeez.
single-handedly. Shout outs to Nice Guy,
Yeah.
the winner of Battlegrounds.
Red Bull's been doing good stuff.
Yes, Red Bull has been talking a big game about esports, but
Yeah.
they seem to really have been backing it up.
At the
it's
same
not,
time,
and it's not just tournaments, like the coverage of that, like the fighting game community. I think it's been pretty positive,
Are-
tasteful.
are the Red Bull logos confirmed?
They're
That's
on
speculation,
costumes.
yeah.
Oh, they're on there.
That
Yeah.
seems. Is that a little low rent for Street Fighter? Like that, I feel like
Look at Street Fighter V. Street Fighter V is a little low rent.
That's
for
what I
Street
mean.
Fighter.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I mean. Like it doesn't. It's like I feel like Street Fighter has been a little classier in the past.
Right. Like like
Times
a Destiny,
change, my friend. I
Target
guess.
Sparrow, like
Yeah.
that's tasteful. Like
Yeah.
it's like the Red Bull.
The Red Bull Sparrow.
It doesn't have the Red Bull logo.
Yeah,
on it, but it's got
totally.
the colors.
Totally.
It's tasteful. These straight up have like Red Bull logos on the costumes.
I think
if
it
they-
works
If they
for
just did
some
a
characters.
a Ryu costume that was just like the same colors as a can of Red Bull, like and kind of
Yeah.
reflective,
I'm cool with
Yeah.
that would be neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it worked. I think Ken with a Red Bull logo makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be weird for like
Yeah, just like a
Chun-Li.
whole bunch of different. Yeah, Ken sponsored.
I feel like,
Yeah.
well, DJ is not in the game, right? But I was
No.
gonna say you could just replace on his
Yeah,
pants.
it's a maximum.
Bull.
Just, yeah.
got to make sure that it.
Yeah. It doesn't.
Flips.
Yeah. That doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, that's a huge change. I don't know if it's too little, too late.
comes out in January, $40.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So that,
It's the closest they'll get to another shot
Yep.
Yes.
at it is putting this kind of new bundle out.
yeah, it's definitely too late. And hopefully it's not too little.
Okay. Their community man. Combo Fiend is on to greener pastures.
Yeah,
he's moved
on
on.
the company.
Combo Fiend. That is a good name for a
Where will he
community
go?
manager
Where
for a
will
Street
Combo
Fighter game to
Fiend
have.
go? Where are the combos greener?
Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They got a lot of
Ultra
combos.
combo
They've got a lot
feed.
of combos.
I don't know that they need a community manager.
Maybe he'll go work for Combos. I don't know.
Is that game done?
Combos.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
Combos.
shit,
Just straight
yeah.
up, yeah. Maybe
Always.
he just changed his name to Combos Fiend.
That'd be, oh God. If I go to another fighting game tournament, I'm going to enter as a combos fiend and just carry back.
Just be
combos
eating
around.
combos between rounds.
Yeah.
It's your cosplay.
Open up the stick and just like
built
this
in.
Big,
Oh, yeah.
Make a combos stick. Why is no one? Someone must have fucking done a combos bag like art for a
God,
stick,
we
right?
should.
That has.
Like how is
I have not
Combos?
yet seen it.
Who makes like how are they not all up in the fighting game scene?
I've
with
only ever seen
sponsorships?
combos at an airport.
I see him at gas stations
Yeah.
all over this great state. I'm going to tell you this. I ate a bag of combos last week.
Yeah, pizza?
Yes.
Good.
No, I mean,
It is what it is.
yeah.
All right. Here's the regular news that did not break over the break. They're shutting down Marvel Heroes.
Right.
Speaking of free-to-play fuckery, they're shutting down Marvel Heroes, which has been out on PC for years, but only came out on the consoles like a few months ago.
Yeah, like 4 months or something like that.
And anybody who dumped money into that game is now out that money.
It's really easy to dump money into that game too, because a lot of characters were locked.
Like you
behind
had to
that
pay
stuff.
for the characters. Well,
you could grind
you
them.
grind
but
them,
it
right?
would take some time.
Yeah,
It took a lot of time.
Yeah, so this has led to cases of like, people going to Microsoft because it's on Xbox One as well, and going like, hey, what's the deal with? I want to say someone got a response from Microsoft saying like, we don't know what their plans are with this stuff.
It sounds like so. I pulled a story off Kotaku that who wrote about this, and it sounds like some people scattershot are getting refunds, but I think that's probably down to like the individual like
right
service rep that you get a
or,
hold of.
or like or it could be even like if you just have raw currency like G's in your account that they'll
that you
refund
haven't,
the
you
G's.
you haven't spent yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or if you've bought recently, maybe that's I'm sure that's got to be a case by case. But
Yeah,
I want
This,
to say the legalese behind it is just
yeah.
like they're not entitled to, but
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
the same
this-
time, it's like it's only been out for like a handful of months on consoles.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, you're right. This story digs into the EULA, and yeah, they are fully entitled to shut the game down and give you nothing for
of course, yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. I don't know that game. I feel like as word started, as it looked like they were going to launch on consoles and then make that announcement and stuff like that. It felt like the game was kind of on the decline a little bit anyway. And this,
from what I
seemed
gather, when
like-
they kind of consoleized it, that's when a lot of the backlash happened. From
Totally.
PC players.
and a similar thing happened with Hawken. Hawken was on the PC. It changed hands at a couple of points because Hawken did not do that well out of the gate. But
I liked that game.
yeah, Hawken was neat
Yeah,
for
it was
what
cool.
it was.
Anyway.
And
Marvel Heroes was pretty good.
Yeah, but
done some
when
videos on
Hawken launched on console, it felt like it just died on the PC.
Really?
And I think actually, literally, it is now dead on the PC, but it might still be going on console. I'm not actually sure.
I saw it on Steam over the weekend. I think you
it
can
might still be there right
download
now,
it.
but I think they are planning to shut
Yeah.
Hawken down
Yeah.
in the relatively near future here. I'm just not sure if it applies to the console versions or if it's just the PC. But yeah, you started seeing them, like, and I wasn't following Marvel Heroes super closely anymore, but it seemed like that they were starting to miss updates and people just, there was like, there's always going to be a certain level of grumbling about any kind of live service game because people are going to always have their opinion about what should happen next. But that felt like it had very much intensified over the last, I'd say even year. To the point where you go like, this is the cycle of how these games go. You're like, this is starting to build to a volume, and it's people griping about like, lack of contact from the devs, and this is like, the devs are maybe not around as much anymore. You're like, oh, okay, yeah,
it could
this
be
is
that,
how this
or
goes. This is how this goes.
From what I understand, like they lost the Marvel license, and at that point, if they're not,
Oh yeah, well yeah.
That,
But that's, I guess the
that would-
announcement
that
initially
would
came
kill
from
it.
Disney, but like at some point you think like, well, if this game was healthy and seeing the updates and all this other stuff, they probably would have been able to continue to afford the license, or they would have been throwing back money to Disney that would have made it worthwhile.
perhaps.
But
Disney-
maybe this
Disney,
is just
like,
Disney wanting
killed-
to move in a different direction.
Disney killed Infinity, and they were doing okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on over there.
The Infinity
But-
thing's different though because that was Disney's own money, whereas this is a
Sure.
licensing deal.
Right.
So it comes down to like maybe Disney thought they could make more money elsewhere by doing something different, but it's probably not an exclusive license. They probably could have just done something.
Either way,
either
like a
way,
consumer,
yeah.
like I'm always scared of investing money, in a free to play game because they're unstable. I don't know where they're going to be in a few months. You never know. Usually, you know, if there's an MMO that comes out, you know, with a subscription service, they eventually make that jump to free to play.
Yeah.
And whether or not they stay that way or stay, you know, alive is kind of a crapshoot. It's a tough market out there.
Looking at Skyrim on the Switch recently made me realize that I kind of want to check back in on Elder Scrolls Online.
Really?
It sounds like that they have been adding that, you know, you don't necessarily have to play that like an MMO, like a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
And then they just keep adding stuff to it. Like, what if that's like the secret best new Elder Scrolls game that you know?
Did it ever really play like that though? I mean, it's
more or less.
Yeah.
I mean, they've.
Can you pick up 50 cheese wheels and drop them in your house?
I don't know about that. I don't know about the specifics around it, but in terms of like actual gameplay, like it was similar to those games for sure. And I think they've only pushed further in that direction.
Remind me, you still buy that game outright and there's no monthly fee, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not free to play.
It's not.
Okay.
But I think you can, it might be the case where you could pay a monthly fee and get some kind of additional bonuses on top of it. But they also sell like DLC, like, you know, expansion packs basically.
I get the sense that thing is still going quite well.
Yeah.
A lot of people seem to be into it. There was a bunch of hubbub around that Morrowind expansion.
Yeah. That's the impression I get.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have time for that, but like there was a part of me watching you play Skyrim. I was like, I should play Skyrim. And I was like, wait, what if I played this other thing that I have only played the intro of when it was at launch and not good?
Right.
They probably made it good by now.
Sure.
Probably.
I mean, Skyrim is still Skyrim. You've played that.
Yeah.
Because every news story has to be about the exact same theme this week.
Mm-hmm.
There's this hubbub around Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, boy.
The forthcoming game from CD Projekt Red, makers of The Witcher 3.
Yes.
Where
I just want to go on record saying this is like the most anticipated title for me in ever.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with you.
I'm really looking forward to it.
It sounds like it's a ways off, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think they kind of copped to it being in incredibly early stages not too long ago. Their CEO gave some interview after The Witcher 3 was kind of like the standard bearer of like big, sprawling, you know, single purchase offline games.
Yeah.
That have a lot of value, saying like, hey, we might put some online games as a service type hooks into this game. People were not happy.
Nope.
All right.
And then they tweeted basically kind of, gosh, I had the tweet in front of me and I closed the tab. They basically started tweeting in direct opposition to the stuff the CEO has said about like, hang on, let me find this tweet.
You think it was just miscommunication? Like,
I don't know.
Huh.
I think it was.
It sounds like that might just be discussions that they're still, they're still thinking about it.
Talk amongst yourselves. While
like
I find
honestly,
this tweet.
if you look at something like The Witcher, like, or even like Assassin's Creed, with its, it has this online integration of this like daily quest thing of you go to this merchant and he says like, go, I need you to kill somebody, and you get an item. It's very light touch, but if you think about it in those terms of like daily quests that pop up, and also Assassins has stuff like, and it's dumb because it shows their like gamer tag or whatever, but it's like you find a dead body and it's like avenge fucking Goku butt balls 420, and you have to go kill some guys to avenge that player who died.
I will die avenging Goku butt balls 420.
yeah.
It's about time someone did.
I don't want that real world layer in this game. I don't know.
I think
it might
like the Cyberpunk theme fits tonally. Like anyway, I guess what I'm saying is like there's a classy way to integrate some kind of updating thing into that game that doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of the world.
Right.
And I understand why people are touchy about that sort of stuff right now, given how some of these other games have done it. But like that actually, on its surface, and knowing how that studio tends to approach its games and monetization stuff, that sounds kind of exciting. That sounds like something that could be a cool addition.
Online is necessary or very recommended if you wish to achieve long-term success.
That's weird.
Is what the CEO said.
It's a weird statement.
Success in the game or success in the industry? Like success for sales or success for playing the game?
Sales is what he's talking about.
I mean,
here's the tweet, though, which I'll just read it. I'll let you decide.
Right.
When thinking Cyberpunk 2077, think nothing less than The Witcher 3. Huge single-player, open-world, story-driven RPG. No hidden catch. You get what you pay for. No bullshit, just honest gaming like with Wild Hunt. We leave greed to others.
Giant Bombcast. No bullshit, just honest gaming.
That's right.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. It came off a little bit like they were trying to stem the flow from a self-inflicted wound.
Maybe, yeah.
And it wouldn't have mattered. What he said wouldn't really have mattered as much if this Battlefront
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah,
hadn't
people
been.
people weren't so sensitive to the stuff right now.
But also, like, I think that's, people give The Witcher credit for being that type of game and being, fully offline and single player. Like, that's fine, and that's good. There's room for that. But I again, like, the concept of let's put this game on the internet from time to time, even if it's not forced, like, I think it can make games better and richer and more interesting.
Especially like Cyberpunk is one of the genres where being connected is such a core theme of.
You're giving these developers who made this like very like widely acclaimed game zero credit when you flip out at the statements like that. Where
I think they've earned kind of some respect as to how they've dealt with releasing the games. And
also,
just,
I think that
providing
tweet
content.
doesn't say anything about not. It says nothing less than.
Yeah.
So I think you would view online functionality or some kind of rotating quest system or whatever they're thinking, they would probably view that as additive and not forced and not something that they would layer on top of the entire game.
Right.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But I think that there's totally room, especially in a Cyberpunk game, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
There's room for them to play around in that space.
Yeah.
I think everyone will continue to. Like, the Battlefront stuff isn't going to make people shy away from making games that connect to the internet. Destiny 2 still did insanely well. Like, if anything, we're going to keep going down this road. But by and large, it can make some games better. Just don't fucking build your entire progression around spending money, and you're halfway there.
It sounds so easy when you say it like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Destiny, they talked about that new expansion, which is coming out in 2 weeks.
All right, new raid, baby. Let's go.
2 weeks
Who are we
from
taking
today.
down? Who are we gonna kill? Is it like a big Vex worm?
It's my man Big Vex. He's showing up. He's a long haul trucker, and he's long haul trucking to Mercury.
What's he hauling?
Future Mercury or past Mercury?
He is hauling from he's from past Mercury,
Oh, okay.
and he's hauling it through time.
Oh, he's a time trucker.
Yeah, he's a time trucker. So he's going to future Mercury, and Big Vex, let me tell you, his appetite is insatiable for all things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for all things. A lot of diverse tastes there. What I'm saying is, don't hang out with Big Vex. Okay. Shoot Big Vex from a distance.
Steer clear of that
in
guy.
the glowing part.
Yeah.
You'll know the one.
Yeah, it feels like not that long ago that we were going, hey, I wish there was more Destiny. And now in 2 weeks,
Whoops.
there will be more Destiny.
Look what you went and did.
Yeah. They confirmed the Mercury stuff. It'll be a zone. Like, that stuff all leaked a while back. But yeah, the big thing is there's no new raid. They're adding on to that last raid.
Really?
Raid
Everyone had
lair.
so much fun with the
Raid
last raid.
layers. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this.
What's a raid layer?
It's a bolt-on. It is more raid content for an existing raid as opposed to a whole new raid.
But it's
I
not
don't
like
think
you
I
running
like
the
that
full.
at
It's
all.
not like running the full raid again. I thought it was
I
like
don't
you
think so.
go there and do the
Oh,
lair
okay.
instead, LAIR,
Yeah,
instead of the raid.
I think that.
Yeah, I got the impression that it's like bigger rooms inside that are going to
Yeah.
open up, and you go in there.
If
I mean,
it's, if
so
it's
this
just
makes
like
the-
if it's just like them redesigning the hub to add like, oh, now every week it's still like 3 of these things, but it could be 3 of 20 things instead of 3 of 3 things. That's hopefully
Yeah.
it's not that. That'd be a bad addition.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But it sounds like it is not that.
Yeah.
They talked about loot a little bit, how it's going to be. You're not. They're like, we've seen a lot of your concerns about getting the same loot rewards over and over. So
Did they? Huh. How do they propose to solve that problem?
They didn't come out outright and said it, but they said they will be addressing it with the layers, which maybe
Interesting.
maybe make it seem like there'd be like unique, like one unique thing per layer or
Yeah.
something.
Huh. Okay. I do think like the first DLC raid in the first game is notoriously the worst raid in the history of Destiny.
Yeah.
It
So-
doesn't have to be that way, though.
That's what I'm saying.
I
Like
know.
if cranking raids out that fast means that they start getting bad, then maybe this is a better solution than.
Well, they've got what is it, this infinite forest thing.
Yeah, that's a totally separate. That actually
yeah.
sounds super cool. It's like a virtual space on Mercury. It sounds like you're basically going into the Matrix, but
Sick. I love the Matrix.
yeah, right. But apparently it is going to simulate the same area on Mercury in different time periods, like in the past,
Like
in the
Sonic
future.
CD.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get nostalgic for past Mercury.
That idea. Well, like they were saying, like the future Mercury is like after the sun no longer exists.
Okay.
So like they're playing around with some cool ideas for ways to screw around with the environment. But
how much is this expansion?
I think it's 20.
Do they even sell them separately, or do you have to buy
I
a
think you
pass?
can still buy them separately.
Okay.
I think it's the same as the first game,
Yeah.
like 20 piecemeal, but 30 for both.
Yeah.
Are the raid layers 6 person?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure. They didn't come out and say that, but I have to assume that's all the same.
A new space would be nice. You know,
Yeah.
this is, well, if you think about it, like this is stuff that's been in development since before the launch of Destiny 2. So it's, you know, the amount of player feedback they would take into account is probably minimal.
Yeah.
Because they're already most of the way there on this thing. So they're probably doing what they can.
Yep.
How long till we get a new race?
Like a new enemy faction? I'm going to say at the 1 year mark.
Have you heard of Destiny 3?
No, what's that?
It's the sequel to Destiny 2.
Okay.
They're actually going to call it Destiny 2 because they're going to retcon Destiny 2 at some point to make it Destiny 1.
What are they going to do about Destiny 1?
What Destiny 1?
That's what they're making right now. It's almost out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
In Future Mercury, Destiny 6 is already out, and it's fucking
That's actually
awesome.
Destiny 12.
Yeah.
But
In Japan, it's Destiny 12, but it's called Shin. It's true Destiny 2.
Neo Destiny.
But also the sun has exploded at that point, so that's
Right.
kind of
It's
kind
kind
of
of a different
problem.
thing.
It's problematic.
And Destiny 1 was a fighting game. It's weird.
I would put money on the year 1 expansion, like next year's Taken King equivalent, having like that pyramid ship faction in it.
Okay.
The way they've been teasing that stuff.
Yeah.
I get the gist that like a lot of people just kind of, you know, went through that raid, kind of bounced off of Destiny because there wasn't much to do. And then we've all been kind of waiting for this first expansion to come out.
Yeah.
Is this enough for you to get back in?
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll definitely give it a look. I mean, I played Destiny 2 for probably 60 hours, something like that. Like I enjoyed most of my time with that game.
Sure.
So
same here.
yeah, I don't need there to be infinitely repeatable stuff, at least in that base game.
Right.
Because I look at it and just go like, oh, I enjoyed this for a lot of hours. It's not some monthly fee game.
What if it was?
If it was and the content was like there,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think that they could do it.
They would have to hold up.
I think it could be done. I don't think they could do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, if they held up their end of the bargain and you got what you were paying for, then sure.
Yeah. I would be all about that, but they don't seem to be.
Yeah.
Or
no,
they don't seem to have the
that's-
capacity to do that.
Yeah. So, you know, bolt on some more content, play through that content, stop playing the game again.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Seems to be where Destiny is at right now.
Yeah. Like I'm more blown away that there are people still playing a lot of Destiny 2 after having played, you know,
the PC PC version seems to have given people a big lift. A
Yeah.
lot of people that got their fill on the console came back and started over on PC.
I tried. I got up to, and you know, I'll keep fucking with the PC version here and there, but
Yeah,
I
are you
did
gonna-
not hit level 20 on PC.
Do you think there's a lot of people that are going to switch platforms?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like half the people in our clan, judging by our clan Discord, like half the people that played on console have now moved to PC permanently.
Cool.
Yeah.
Which sucks for getting groups together now.
Yeah, true.
But oh well. Let's see. Lastly, they announced new Valkyria Chronicles. It's 4.
A proper one.
Yeah. Yes,
Ain't
not that
Ain't
not
no
that
phone game
not
stuff.
that crappy. Didn't they also make like a Musou style?
Oh, we don't talk about
Okay,
that.
let's not talk about
We're
that.
not going to talk about that.
Uh,
Yeah, this is a
it's a proper actual turn-based strategy Valkyria Chronicles.
Yep.
Coming out next year.
um,
PS4, Xbox One, and Switch.
yeah, that's huge news.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, a lot of the Valkyria stuff either never made it over here or just like never made the jump
Yeah, I
to
didn't-
like a big boy console.
I didn't know
there's
they-
PSP releases.
Yeah, I
and-
never knew they made a 3 that never came over here until I saw this
yeah.
news, and then I was like, wait a minute, what happened to 3?
Yep.
It came out in the PSP in Japan and never came over here.
Yeah, those are really fun, well written, just awesome games.
Yeah, I liked that first one.
That was always one of the series that I feel worst about not having played.
They're real good if you like tactical RPGs.
Yeah.
And anime World War II.
Sure.
What was it, 1? I forget.
It's their own
Actually,
anime war.
yeah,
Are
Oh,
any
God.
of them
Anime war never
battleships?
changes.
Yep.
that's right.
Are any of them battleships that are represented by ladies?
Yeah.
That are
Because that's the only kind of
supposed to
war
be-
anime
That's
I
the,
like.
that's the only
Yeah.
war you're interested in fighting. I don't know. We'll have to wait till next year and find out.
Right.
All right, that's it for news.
Cool.
Emails.
Emails.
Bombcast@giantbomb.com
Yeah.
is the email address. Send them there. Vance from Michigan sent this email there.
What's up, Vance?
Excuse me. After making my way through Assassin's Creed Origins, I was pretty disappointed. There wasn't a mission involving knocking off the Sphinx's nose like many of you guys predicted. Do you guys think this is one of the biggest disappointments of the year? I thought it was a lock. That nose was coming off.
Biggest disappointment of the year.
DLC 1 is going to be a 10-hour quest to knock off the Sphinx's nose.
We got to get that nose off.
That would have been.
What's the setup?
A little too on the nose. I
spaceship
think
in
if
the
they did
nose.
Why is that? Why
too off the nose? Really?
Wait, is there weird sci-fi shit in that game?
I mean, there's like animus stuff, and there's weird gods stuff.
There's no ancient aliens or anything.
I have not played enough of it to tell you one way or the other.
Okay.
But I don't know. Probably not.
I like their dedication in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, you heard about like the chamber that they found in one of the pyramids.
Yeah,
like that
like
was
that's
in the
already
game.
in the game,
right? Yeah.
How did they know?
Based on I forgot his name, but it was somebody who
Ben
theorized
Carson?
a way that the pyramid was built, kind of like the inside out, and that there was like a big
So it was
chamber in the
suspected
middle.
it was there, and then they found it.
Right. That
Okay.
it was like a kind of recent, like not discovery, but just like
Some recent developments in
yeah.
pyramidology.
yeah, exactly. So and they built the pyramid in game based on that, and then
Just assuming it was. Wow, that's crazy.
come to find out in real life, hey,
That's really smart.
that's how it works.
Give whoever designed that pyramid a promotion.
for real.
I hear Geraldo's going to open it.
Yep.
Oh,
pretty soon
good.
here.
Great. I can't wait for that. Do they get goofy referential with the history in this like they have? Like in the past, they've done like, fucking Leonardo da Vinci is your gear maker,
right. Yeah.
or like Charles Darwin is a quest giver. Like,
I mean, in this story, they started talking about Cleopatra.
yeah, like that's the
So,
only figure from ancient Egypt I could think of off the top of the head. So
We'll
I wondered if they would get cheesy with that stuff. But it sounds like this game is maybe taking a little bit more serious of attack
Maybe. Yeah.
with that stuff. I don't know.
It's hard to say. I don't know. And I'm not really sure where the out of animus stuff goes either.
Yeah.
I will say, like, the initial out of animus moment in that game did not necessarily seem super interesting.
No. That's also the stuff I'm most worried about, having never played, having this huge gap of Assassin's Creed knowledge. The out of the animus stuff, I feel like, is going to be the stuff that lands least.
I feel like
with
it
me.
sounds like
the
they've
gap that you took was the gap where all that stuff became
Yeah,
utterly
it completely
meaningless,
stopped
so-
mattering for a long time.
Yeah.
Like it what was it, up through 3? They
3
resolved
was-
the arc.
Is that where they killed Desmond?
I guess I never played it.
Or killed? I mean, there's references to Desmond immediately when you leave the animus in this game, because you just have access to a laptop and you go dig through, what is it, like Subject 17 or whatever it is?
I think it was Unity Syndicate was the era where they kind of stopped caring, right? It sounds like they're getting back to
like
it a little
post
bit.
3, kind of.
Yeah. Well, Black Flag had some stuff.
some, yeah, but a lot of it was like, we're a video game company,
Yeah.
like you're literally Ubisoft, working with the fucking Templars,
Right. Abstergo games or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Yeah.
Goofy stuff.
And just keep in mind, Ubisoft is also in Watch Dogs, so
Mhm.
like all this stuff like realistically comes together.
That's true. Jim writes in, this year, as you start to think about what should be nominated for the Please Stop category for Game of the Year, I thought it would be interesting to look at the past winners and decide if things truly stopped. Below
Here's
are,
your answer: no.
Yeah, pretty much. Below are all the past year's winners. I will read them in chronological order. 2010, it was retailer-specific pre-order bonuses.
Nope.
Nobody's listening.
That is lessened, but
Yeah.
it does still happen.
It still exists, but people don't seem to care as much.
Overall, pre-order
Pre-order bonuses
bonuses
not
have
a-
lessened, but
Yeah.
the specific ones are still.
Yeah.
Not as big of a thing. I would say that one somewhat stopped.
N-
Halfway.
Yeah.
A
We're
little
getting
bit.
there. The jury's still out on
I
this
mean,
one. Just wait for the retailers to go away, and then the problem will be solved.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. 2011 sequel fatigue. Yeah. No. Well, but I mean, I guess like some sequels are getting interesting again.
Like,
you know?
and also some of the games
Assassin's Creed.
that
Like
needed
Assassin's
to take
Creed,
a year off
yeah.
did.
Assassin's Creed seems like a good
Yeah.
example of like a game that we should be totally sick of Assassin's Creed, but it sounds like they brought it.
And they try to do the right thing with Need for Speed by taking a year off, but they just didn't deliver at the end of it. So, it seems like there is at least some bit of acknowledgement that, like, hey, we can't keep pumping these things out every year.
Yeah.
I mean, they took a decade for Bubsy.
Exactly, yeah.
It's true.
Okay, well, yeah, you're right. I mean, they even made a sequel to Bubsy, so at some point, no, they have not learned.
Yeah, if anything, this is a Game of the Year discussion, but this
Yeah.
seems almost like the year that sequels defied the odds. And
Maybe.
were really
There's a
good
lot
in a lot
more
of
cases, but still,
Yeah.
there's the Shadow of War.
Yeah, there's plenty
Oh,
of
man.
plenty
yeah.
of stuff. Just a lot of sequels. Some of these are so specific that in retrospect, I'm almost like, what were we even talking about? 2012 DLC that should be in the main game.
Yeah, it was like stuff that like it was
that was the Mass Effect 3 category.
Yeah, like hey, they're selling the true ending to Ashra's Wrath. Was that year?
I think so.
Yeah, that was.
I think so.
I went back
like
and looked at my old fan lists for Game of the Year,
and like the bar none best new party member in Mass Effect 3 was a DLC character,
right?
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wait, who is
Javik?
Mm-hmm.
The Prothean,
right.
the Prothean crew member.
Sure.
By far the best character in that game. Let's see. 2013 games that require post-launch apologies.
Now it's all about the pre-launch apologies.
We were yeah, exactly. If anything, they're getting out ahead of apologizing.
Yeah.
I feel like they maybe have not made their last apology for Battlefront 2. Like there will still be more to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like we were heading in that direction.
It's true.
And then this year,
and
it's EA again.
Yeah.
The solution for that problem is never release games.
Yeah.
Always keep them pre-alpha.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Early access solves all problems.
2014 shipping broke-ass games. Not a bad year for technical dust-ups, cock-ups, whatever.
Mass Effect.
Prey.
Mass Effect was Mass Effect was a huge mess.
Rough. Yeah.
Mass Effect's totally separate story, though.
Yeah, it's a separate category.
I mean, this is nothing like, the Batman, Arkham Knight, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of any major.
I mean, that would have been the year that Assassin's Creed was at its
Yeah.
most broken.
Unity was a complete fucking disaster.
Probably.
Nothing
That's probably
on
that year, right?
nothing on that order.
Master Chief Collection.
I think we're doing better on that front.
Yeah. It seems like it. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
2015 real money card packs and one-time use items.
The only thing that changes, it feels like it's less one-time use items.
That's true. That is fair.
But if anything, that stuff is worse.
Yeah, I would take
every
the
other way.
one-time use
Something that began 2 years ago is really reaching ahead now. And then last year was shipping unfinished games on disc,
which happened again this year.
Totally.
What I'm trying to think what the specifics were around that last year.
I think it was like, I think a lot of it was out of like Vinny having family members buying games on disc and then not getting to play that night because they had to download like 20 gig of patches.
Well, if he subscribes to the gamer tier of internet access,
that's true. That won't be a
problem.
Anymore.
Prioritize access to these patches.
That's true.
And it's just not going to be.
It's choice. It's more choice for everyone.
I think stuff like like LA Noire, like some of these Switch games, like NBA.
A lot of the Switch games
Doom,
are shipping like half a game on a retail cart and making you download the other half.
Like that's crazy. Yeah, that's extra crazy considering the storage situation on the Switch.
Totally.
But then also that happened in different ways with Fortnite and Paragon.
Oh.
Was Paragon last year? When they put that out on disc? Because I could see that being the standard bearer for why this thing would come up.
Maybe.
Because that's fucking bonkers.
Maybe. I can't remember, actually.
But they did it again with Fortnite.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, hey, buy this game on disc. It's in early access, whatever that means.
Very soon, the game install will have no relation to what's on the disc.
I mean, look, that's true for any game now.
If you get a disc now.
Yeah, right. But, think about, what are you going to do with a Destiny 1 disc after the world ends?
Put it in the microwave.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
I've never done that before.
It's cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I always heard it was neat.
Yeah, I did it with a microwave we were throwing away.
I didn't want to sacrifice a disc.
Don't inhale the smoke coming off the CDs. It's bad.
You did it outside, right?
Outside microwave.
No, I mean, we were moving out of the house, too, so whatever.
I never thought about that. It's just like making s'mores over the open fire.
Right.
Microwave,
just like it.
Microwave in your backyard.
Yeah, we did move a microwave out to the garage at one point, though, to start. We were setting off firecrackers in it, too. I don't know.
Yikes.
We drank.
All right.
Yeah. I cannot judge anyone.
Yeah.
Let's see. Brandon from Ohio. Soon after listening to your podcast last week, I was bathing my newborn and said, I wonder how bad this baby shampoo tastes, and put the tiniest drop in my mouth.
All right.
What followed was a cacophony of sensations of the worst tasting things I've ever had in my mouth. What initially started off as a strong burnt orange flavor.
All right, I'm in.
Subsided for long enough to make me think that wasn't so bad, and then I was immediately beset by what was best described as a forest fire of chemicals and acid. At this point, my mouth was also bubbling because it's shampoo,
Oh, okay.
which was only made worse when I tried to rinse my mouth out with water. My wife laughed her ass off. Long story short, I will take a ghost pepper burn over that shit again, and I
Really?
hope my child never accidentally gets that stuff in their mouth. I guess nobody ever said it had to taste good, right? It just has to be safe.
If it nullifies if it's safe and nullifies the heat of the pepper, that's I would probably take the chemicals.
Did he just get a bad batch? I don't know. Like when
maybe if you put a Switch cartridge in your mouth
Right.
after eating the pepper, that
so
would be
yeah,
the
the
same
Switch
thing?
cartridges are coated in the stuff to keep that stuff
Yeah.
out of kids' mouths, right? But like anytime that I'm bathing my son, like soap bubbles, that stuff gets everywhere, and in his mouth, and he's doesn't seem phazed by it.
I think,
but I can't say that I've tasted it.
I think
myself.
you need to.
Yeah,
I
you should
think
bring some in.
I think we're gonna have to bring some in, and I hope it's the same kind of experience. Really, like that sounds like a journey.
Dan will be out here soon enough. We can
Well,
get
that's
him
true.
to do it.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Huh.
Bring a hot chip.
Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna. Bring
Yeah,
something with
he's
him.
gonna
That's
have
like
a
his
bunch
whole
of
thing
chips.
now.
Yeah,
Right?
we got to be prepared.
He's like, the chip man. I'm
We
here.
got to fight back.
You'll throw
Got
it
the
on the
shirts and
podcast
everything.
table, and we'll just bring out that Johnson and Johnson's. Like,
And
you do this,
motherfucker.
Yep.
Taste of his own medicine.
We should go to Spicy Queen. And it's nearby.
Yeah.
There's a trio of restaurants in San Francisco: Spicy King, Spicy Queen, and Spicy Emperor.
Do they escalate appropriately?
I don't know. I just know I've been to 2 of the 3 locations, and Spicy Queen was hotter than Spicy Emperor.
Huh.
I haven't yet to beat a Spicy King.
All right. Brandon also wanted to know what game we remember being the game that kicked off the whole loot box thing. Like what was the chief offender? I doubt this is the first one, but the first thing that came to my mind was Mass Effect 3, having multiplayer that revolved around random box drops.
When I think about the consumable items out of blind boxes, Halo 5 is the game that immediately comes to mind. Because
That was
that,
only-
that Warzone mode
Yeah.
was really impacted.
I think that was the year it got really bad,
Um,
if I remember.
but I feel like the year after that was less bad,
Maybe.
and now we're back to like the car crash
Right.
that we.
But
live in
he's
now.
talking about like going all the way back.
going all the way back.
I don't remember anything before Mass Effect,
anything?
that being a big thing.
Was it Dota?
That's when it all started.
Dota existed before Mass
mean,
Effect. Right?
everything
they were
is-
selling hats.
Everything is Dota's fault on some
Yeah.
level, so probably.
I bet you could bring a lot of this back to some mobile game that
Yeah,
we're not
well,
thinking
totally.
of
Yeah, that's where it
so
actually
that's-
started.
Yeah. But before mobile got big, I mean, there were free to play games on the PC. That stuff did exist, so maybe something there.
Yeah, I'm just struggling to.
Yeah, I'm trying to
of
think.
those.
I don't know what the lineage would be there, but yeah.
Patrick from Massachusetts. Since you were playing Game & Wario on UPF, it got me thinking, are we about due for a WarioWare Switched? Or is
Been
the-
due.
Or is the series pretty much dead, but anyone at Nintendo will do their best corporate speak to deny it without denying it, like what happened with Rhythm Heaven? It would be a shame if those characters were done because of a few misguided entries that aren't representative of what made the series great.
I'm more interested in what they said about Rhythm Heaven, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know what quote
because
he's
they come
referring
out
to.
and kind of like wave it away as like in a way that made people think it's never going to exist again,
Yeah, I don't know.
which is certainly
Yeah, I
possible.
hadn't heard
But
that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need another WarioWare game. Bad.
And now
The
the
world needs another WarioWare now more than ever.
Switch seems like a good platform for, well, I don't know. Then you get into weird issues of like, well,
It has
you
to.
have to undock it to play it right.
Yeah.
Because like touch and motion and all that
Just
stuff.
for motion control, or like multiplayer stuff, you know.
I think it would be cool if, and by cool I mean kind of a weird hassle, but also potentially neat if that game was like you're undocking halfway through a game because you have to. It knows, you know, like okay, dock to the TV and it'll look like this, then undock to do this.
Yeah, totally.
You know, of course, you might scratch the.
Yeah,
screen
I
of
don't
your
think
Switch,
Nintendo would let
but
them get away with
yeah,
that.
probably
Right.
not. That would probably be over the line. But I think there's cool stuff about the Switch that you could exploit for a WarioWare game.
I was always more on Team Rhythm Heaven than Team WarioWare, but it's been forever since we've had a solid WarioWare game or an imitation of one.
I view that as one team. I don't think you have to choose. I think the Rhythm Heaven team is the WarioWare team.
Yeah, you gotta choose.
They're both glorious games that I will happily play.
And one just happens to be better than the other.
Don't
Which
don't
one-
divide
which
us
one
like
is
this,
which?
Then
It's Rhythm Heaven.
Why is it better?
It's better music, better games, better aesthetic.
better lack of Wario.
Wario's all right, but I never liked any of those side like 9-volt.
What about Orbulon?
I mean,
Wait,
What about the doctor that was always shitting his pants?
wait, WarioWare has characters?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, yeah, I'll grant you the 3 fucking disco afro guys are maybe a bit much. And 9-volt's whole appeal is that he's the one with the Nintendo games.
Yep.
But
He's fine.
yeah, they drove a taxi.
It's a line that doesn't need to be
The
drawn.
Ninja Girl. Yeah, no,
Come
fuck
on.
you. The characters in that game are good,
Yeah.
with some exceptions. And Rhythm Heaven is also good. There's nothing bad here about any of this stuff.
All right. Chris writes in. After last week's discussion surrounding console manufacturers' new mandate for all physical releases to include ESRB ratings, and the costs smaller publishers are going to have to eat in order to maintain compliance, I have to ask, how will this be enforced? The ESRB is not a regulatory body, and the ratings process has always been voluntary, so I must be missing the penalty that studios might experience. I know that most big retailers require any game they sell to carry a rating, but it seems like groups most affected by this change always sold on their own storefronts anyway. Can the big 3 do something on their consoles to prevent a game from running on their hardware?
Yes. I mean, the software that runs on those platforms are vetted, concept approval. They go through all sorts of steps with the publisher. And so this is Microsoft, Sony, and I was about to say Sega, and Nintendo saying we agree with the ESA. We agree with the ESRB.
Right, but
all these releases need to be rated, and we will not allow you to release.
Yeah, so I guess what he doesn't understand is on the technical end, they can just like refuse to sign those games.
Yeah.
Like in terms of encryption or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
And
if those
like
games are not signed, they will not boot on the console.
And maybe 20 years from now when all that stuff is broken, the same way you see like new SNES games coming out now,
Yeah.
they'll be like, whatever. But
Is Steam the same way? Like, do you have to be?
no.
Okay.
I don't
And
believe that.
those are all digital releases, which have different rules anyway.
Yeah, because
So,
think about some of the games going up on Steam. Like there's,
Oh right.
there's
this
no
is
way
only
that
hard.
yeah, this is
physical.
only physical stuff.
there's no way that some of those games got rated or whatever.
Yeah.
But I didn't even think about the fact that they literally can prevent games from booting on the hardware now.
Mhm.
Because back in the day, it was like the classic example is like Tengen Tetris, right? Like,
Right.
that was an unlicensed game for the NES that was
Yeah.
not technically, but they still sold it because it still worked
Right.
until Nintendo like took them to court and basically had all the copies pulled.
Yeah, that was
Was that
more
what
over the
happened?
Tetris rights than
Right.
than anything else.
But it wasn't just
you know.
Tetris.
It was
They
RBI Baseball existed in that same
Like,
cartridge
yeah,
format.
Tengen was making
Yeah.
several unlicensed games.
There were
at the time.
unlicensed Genesis games, like Accolade was doing that for a while.
Right.
With games like Onslaught and Turrican. Stuff
But
like that.
the point is it's always been the case that the platform makers had a legal remedy, right? If to stop
that was the idea.
to stop
yeah.
unauthorized software
or at
being
least
sold.
or at least like that was the attempt, right?
Right,
You know,
right.
some of that stuff still existed. Like Comerica put out stuff on the NES. You know, it was a matter of like, did you steal the lockout chip or did you reverse engineer it in a clean room? And you know, it came down to stuff like that about whether or not that stuff was legal.
Right.
But it was still something of a struggle to do. Nowadays, yeah, I mean, you could envision a scenario where even if someone got software to boot on, like, let's say a PS4, like Sony could just update it in the background to say, like, oh, by the way, if anyone puts this disc in, blacklist it. It's
Yeah.
done. Does not boot.
ban that
So,
console.
Yeah, or not even ban the console, but
Yeah,
just like
or just-
prevent this game from launching.
Game does not work. Yeah.
So you have to stay on a certain firmware
Yeah.
to boot unauthorized games or something like that, which people do anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's yeah. But at the end of the day, like those games do get they're signed off on by the hardware manufacturers and all the other stuff. So there really is no way currently to just exist outside of that system and publish.
Yeah. I mean, still, the ESRB is just, it's a weird, like, monopoly, but Jeff brought up an excellent point in that, hey, we don't want the government to get involved in this stuff. So we kind of play by their rules.
That's why the console manufacturers are like, yeah, no, totally. Because it's like they ultimately don't care
Yeah.
that much about this stuff because it's not like they're bringing in a ton of licensing fees from these physical games either. So they're like, you know, whatever. It's easier to just kind of sign off on that stuff and go, yes, we stick with the recommendation of this thing that keeps the government from regulating all of it than it is to...
Well, they're also super enthusiastic because the ESA is very excited about serving their interests.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Sure.
But anyway,
Yeah.
of course they would be.
Of course they would be. That's what they're there for.
Let's see.
Corporations are people. Didn't you hear?
Yeah.
They're just helping people.
I just haven't quite wrapped my mind around that.
Corporations are people. People aren't people.
It's
Robots are people.
Robots are people. David Cage, jury is still out on whether or not David Cage is a person
He's
or
a
not.
god.
like, see, I just haven't gotten used to this new reality because everything is the exact opposite of how you would think it would be. You know,
Yeah.
it's so weird. Jonathan writes in from Salt Lake City. With Blizzard making the base version of StarCraft 2 free to play, what do you think the odds are that they'll also make Overwatch free to play at some point? StarCraft 2 obviously has the expansions, which you still have to purchase, so they make their money that way. But to me, Overwatch seems like it would be more in line with Dota 2 and League once it has enough characters, in that you could play this multiplayer-only game and still spend money on the cosmetics.
I don't think they will.
Ever?
I mean, it's hard to say ever. Eventually, sure. But, like, I get the impression that they're making StarCraft base free to play because they want more people playing StarCraft. I get the impression that they're plenty happy with the number of people playing Overwatch.
Yeah, that gets to a point where it's like, okay, if sales of Overwatch drop below a certain number, but also like player retention drops to a point where it's maybe even hard to find a match at some point.
But the thing is, like, they're really smart about releasing new characters because every time they release a new character, people come back, including, like, I am, you know, there's the chunk of people who play Overwatch all the time. And then there's the chunk of people who really like Overwatch like me, but don't necessarily, it's not my go-to game or anything, but whenever there's a new character, I'll go back for a couple weeks.
Does it seem like this character they just announced is like the most muted reaction I've seen to a character? I feel like this was one that was almost under the radar.
It's because it's support.
Okay. All right.
Sports win games.
I know.
Everybody knows
Brad,
that.
look, I know the value of a good support as a dedicated support player.
So they've been releasing like Game of the Year editions of Overwatch. You guys know what's included in that?
More skins.
It's
I
it
think.
more
skins.
skins?
It's like
Okay.
all the skins minus like event ones.
Right. Oh, wow.
I think.
Interesting.
For $60?
I'm not sure.
No,
the price.
it's usually
I
a
think
lot
it's
cheaper.
Maybe 40 or 30.
I'm seeing it like for $20 right now.
Oh,
But
jeez.
it might be a Black Friday.
Yeah. So,
price.
you know,
I don't
they're going to play around with deals like that.
Yeah.
Like they're doing a free weekend, or they did a free weekend.
They
I don't know, you know.
they occasionally
that, yeah.
will do
Yeah.
free weekends.
This guy speculates that in maybe 2019 or 2020, interest will have dipped enough that they might go free to play with it. But that's
I think
don't
at
know.
some point, like they rather than do that, that's when you pull the trigger on like, hey guys,
Charging
we're
for
making a sequel
characters?
to
Yeah.
Overwatch.
Oh, gotcha.
What if
okay.
we made Overwatch 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Do it that way.
Because like Team Fortress 2 eventually went free to play,
Right.
But that was like a long time. That was, you know, like, oh, we don't have the resources to keep at this game at a level where we want people to pay money to it. So like, might as well just
yeah.
These hats
Open
are
it
making
up.
us a lot of money,
Yeah.
so let's keep it going.
Right. So yeah, maybe they do business around that stuff. Yeah. I guess it depends on where the industry is at and where trends go in terms of what people feel like paying money for at the time when they have to make those decisions. But I guess maybe that would influence like whether you get like an Overwatch 2 or whether they just start, you know, bolting onto a extremely discounted / free.
you actually have a
Overwatch
1%.
1.
You have about between a 0.5% and 1% of unlocking Overwatch 2. You have
Okay,
a 15%
all right.
chance of getting a purple costume, etc.
I like purple costumes.
God, what if Overwatch 2 was sold in loot boxes in Overwatch 1? You like the beta.
Jesus.
You could
Yeah.
unlock the beta in a loot box.
That doesn't
Ooh,
seem that
gross.
far fetched anymore.
it doesn't.
honestly. Like that's the
It
haunting
doesn't
part
at
here is you're
all.
like, yeah, I mean, people wouldn't like it, but that doesn't mean someone wouldn't do it. I don't think Blizzard would do it.
No.
They seem a little more in touch with how this stuff's supposed to work, but
See, like maybe a Call of Duty or somebody trying something like that.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think Call of Duty just needs to become a platform. They need to get over it.
I thought you were going to say platformer.
A platformer. Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. Double jump.
That's how the war was won. Chase from Minnesota.
That's how the world was 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
This year has been ripe with more terrible fishing mini-games than any man, woman, or child should ever have to suffer through. This begs the question, what's the deal with fishing? Are video games the new recreational fishing, or do game devs just have a fetish for fishing this year? Here's a few of the offending games from this year alone. Nier Automata, Final Fantasy 15, Yakuza 0, Monster of the Deep, Final Fantasy 15.
The fishing in Final Fantasy 15 is good.
Samurai Warriors Spirit of Sonata. Everybody's golf has fishing.
Mario.
Does Mario? He didn't even list Mario. Does Mario have fishing?
Mario's got fishing.
He lists Horizon Zero Dawn, which I know you can shoot the fish with your bow and arrow, but I don't know if that quite passes muster. And Breath of the Wild.
Guilty Gear.
Guilty
Rev
Gear
2.
has
Yeah.
In the lobby, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind that the thing that all those games have in common, with the exception of Horizon, is that they all come out of Japan.
And
which
Yoko
is-
Taro himself
Yeah.
has come out and said every JRPG needs a fishing
Are
game.
you serious?
Yeah, in an interview, he said, I put fishing in Nier because every JRPG needs
It's
fishing.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Sega put out a fucking fishing controller for the Dreamcast. Like, that's just, there's something
about Japan loves fishing and trains.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. And horse racing.
right.
I like fishing minigames. I like them.
I have tried to fish at least half a dozen times in Nier, and I've never even seen a fish in that game.
I caught a fish
I'm
just
starting
the
to
other
think
day,
they're
yeah.
fucking with me.
But I don't know what you do with them. I got a mackerel, and I'm like, I don't know. All right. okay.
I got a metal
Or I
pipe.
got to kill a fish. I forget. I caught a fish.
If
Do you have to
fish in the
is there
sewers,
bait? Is there something
No,
you
it's
have
just
to
where you're fishing.
Because literally every body of water you touch in that game, there's a fishing prompt. And
Yeah.
Go in the sewers,
Nier is a very strange game.
fish for a steel pipe, get the steel pipe, upgrade it to level 4, you get a bash.
Did you see? I should have looked this up so I could actually talk about it accurately. But somebody, I believe it's Square Enix, saying that they thought Yoko Taro should make the next Final Fantasy,
Oh my god.
which is like one of the most exciting things I've heard in quite some time.
Huh.
Other than the part where it wouldn't come out for 8 years.
Yeah, other than the part where I feel like the constraints of Final Fantasy would.
Oh, what if he broke all those shackles
yeah,
off?
I mean, yeah. If
You don't say, "Hey, Yoko Taro, make this Final Fantasy game." If you're
unless
like
you
you-
know what you're getting into.
you know what kind of yeah.
Yes, Nier has definitely made me extremely interested in seeing what Yoko Taro does next.
Yes.
Near Automata made me almost want to go play Nier.
I had a moment. I had a moment where I was reading the plot and stuff that is in the original Nier and how it ties to.
Oh, are there connections?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll have to go look that up later.
Yeah. Look it up after you're done.
I saw some people saying that, in essence, if you think that the gameplay in Automata gets boring, you extra should not play the first Nier.
Yeah.
That's what more or less what I remember of Nier.
Yeah.
Nier was like Kavia's last game.
God, that's right.
Yeah.
And if we want to talk about bad fishing,
Right. Yeah. Much has been said about the fishing
Yes.
in Nier. That to
Um,
me was like felt like it made all how the fishing prompt appears constantly in this Nier feel like a fucking sick joke.
just a middle finger
Yeah.
to Justin.
Right, basically. It was just like, you fuck fish anywhere. No, what? I don't know. I don't know if that is there out of spite or not, but in my mind, it definitely is.
One could hope.
My understanding is that the fishing in that the game is not actually that hard, as hard as it was maybe made
Yeah,
out to
no,
be.
I-
But yeah.
Patrick from Charleston, West Virginia. I'm writing you guys in relation to the conversation you had last week wherein you were discussing great games which set the bar but don't hold up well today. In my opinion, Final Fantasy VII is the best example of this. I'm admittedly one of those Final Fantasy VII nerds whom Jeff hates. My friends and I played through the story while we drank vodka and smoked weed and cigarettes.
I hate you.
We were only 14. It was
Weed and cigarettes.
it was a coming of age
14.
moment for me. So I'm admittedly biased.
Where
but-
were your parents?
But I know plenty of people agree with me on the
We need to
merits of Final Fantasy
ban
VII.
Japanese role-playing games.
It changed my
Because
outlook
look
on
at what
gaming.
it does to children. These are kids.
However, when I go back to play it, it's difficult to say the least.
You're not high enough.
Yeah.
hence my excitement for the remake. Anyway, I feel this way about PlayStation 1 and N64 games. That generation was important, but it doesn't hold up well. Which games of that era do you think do hold up well?
From the N64.
PS1 and 64.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hugely transitional time. It makes sense that those games wouldn't hold up because it's the first fully
the 3D
3D
stuff, yeah.
polygonal generation.
Graphics were bad. People hadn't figured out the cameras.
Yeah,
All kinds of mess.
Coming off of some of the high points of 2D
Yeah.
into that is, it makes it hard to go back to. So that's understandable. Robo Pit that held up. No, Robo Pit probably
Mischief
doesn't hold up.
makers.
Yeah,
Shake.
I'm trying to think of something that I would throw out there.
Mega Man Legend.
That does hold up, or
Yeah.
Rocketman Battle and Chase, the Mega Man.
I mean,
Mario Kart
I still think
game.
Metal Gear Solid holds up, but
Yeah.
What if instead Metal Gear Solid was kind of not great ever?
You'd be wrong.
Whoa.
What
that's-
if
That's
that
not
is, you can't say that at 10 minutes left in this podcast.
what if that game is
Go on.
maybe not great?
It's the third,
Let me tell you about Siphon Filter.
it's the fourth best mainline Metal Gear Solid game.
Uh-huh.
Metal Gear Solid 1.
It's the third best.
Oh, Jesus.
I say
Let's just not.
I don't have it in me.
32514.
Oh, there were 5. Right. I always forget that 5 exists. Is that weird?
Don't forget
harsh.
acid.
No, because it's very not memorable
Yeah.
outside of how fun it was.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
It's really fun.
I don't know where to put 5 on a ranking of
Oh
Metal
my God.
Gears.
Let's extra
Yeah.
not do this.
I
can't.
It's 4213.
I can't.
It's 4213.
I
Whoa.
can't do this.
No, I'm sorry. It's 2413.
Oh, okay. Well,
Whoa.
Yeah.
Rasmus from Sweden wants to know if Toad's hat is part of his head or not.
Yes.
It's his hair.
it's his head,
It's
man.
his
When he
hair.
puts on headphones, it's right on the noggin, right?
MGS2 is the ultimate realization of all of the fucking bullshit that Kojima wants to
can't.
do in games, and it's perfect.
Metal Gear Solid 3 has a boss that shoots bees out of his mouth.
Metal Gear Solid 3 has a bullshit camo meter and is garbage.
It's a good camo meter.
Like the story and all that other stuff is amazing, but except for the part where they just map analogs from existing Metal Gear Solid characters onto characters from decades ago.
Hey, did you know at home
in
that
the dumbest possible
in
way.
a matter of minutes you'll be able to call in yourself and talk to Jeff and Ben about what the best Metal Gear Solid
All right,
game
we're
is?
gonna talk. All right, okay, all right.
Because it's true.
That was low. That was low.
That's
Brad.
it. That's it for the podcast. If you want to follow up on this hot discussion, if you're listening to this live and you're a premium member, you can call in and talk about Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Before we everyone go download Million Onion Hotel. It's a new iPhone game.
What?
I'm not going to say anything about it. It's a puzzle game, but it goes places.
All right.
Googling it right now.
It's from a Japanese studio called Onion Games, and their bio is, "We are Onion Games. We love crazy and beautiful."
Wow. That's a platform I can.
Yeah.
Is Hidden My Game by Mom actually made in Japan, or was it just made
I think SP. I think
as
it
as
is.
if it
That's
were?
a good question.
I didn't understand when you were talking about it.
I
if
believe
it
it
was
is
actually
authentic.
developed in Japan,
Yes.
or if they were just going for that vibe. I've Googled Million Onion Hotel, and now I have to get off this podcast.
Is it beautiful?
It's
It's crazy.
love and peace. Says
I'm
the
out.
sign.
What
What
doesn't
is-
seem authentic.
What is that? All right, that's
Let's
it for the
try again.
podcast. Just stay tuned for that live show if you want
Yeah.
to call
Yeah,
in.
after show.
We'll be
After
up
show
in
coming up.
a matter of minutes.
Yeah, it'll be a pretty light week with Thanksgiving. Like weird.
Recording some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get a few things in, but yeah,
Demo Derby coming up.
Might see a stream or two or
Yeah.
one, maybe.
Yeah.
between Thanksgiving and Game of the Year prep, we're pretty tied up around here. But,
Yeah. Have a happy Thanksgiving if you're
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
country that celebrates that.
yes,
Dude, we're gonna have some Canadian Thanksgiving. So we're gonna take poutine. We're gonna make poutine, like Thanksgiving poutine. So like sweet potato fries, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
And like shredded turkey and
Okay.
gravy.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make poutine for Thanksgiving.
It's good because my only problem with the Thanksgiving meal is it doesn't make me sleepy enough.
Yeah, true. Come on over. We'll take care of that.
I'm gonna come get your TV.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, are you buying his TV?
I'm
Yeah.
buying this TV.
Nice.
Yeah. I gotta sell the. Yeah, that was kind of the wife's rule. It's like
One
Oh, we
TV in, one TV out.
Yep.
We have to find the
Hey,
out for our
hey
TV now.
guys.
That's a good way to live. You don't want a pile of old TVs.
I have had that. Yeah.
I hold on to so much stuff.
I've
I
got
don't know why.
I've got 2 big CRTs in my house.
Keep your
I'm
TVs
excited.
to a
I'm going
minimum.
from like 35 inches to 50.
Yeah, that's a bigger TV.
Yeah.
It's a damn good TV. Yeah, I mean, I picked it for a reason.
That's not
So
bad.
it looks real good.
All right, that's it for the podcast. Next week will be crazy because everybody will be here.
Yeah, this podcast
Totally
next week will be
Forgot
Holy
about that.
cow.
Yeah,
there'll be
we'll
some people in this room.
figure that one out. When we get there, we'll see you then. Bye.